Chapter 220, Reunion, Mink vs. Baby, Duel, 4, Coward, it's just the wind, the little silver mink said with extreme helplessness and contempt. This was the first time he had seen someone so timid. Baby is really too useless. How can this little thing help Schwer? Thinking of this, he began to dislike Baby again. Oh, then it's okay. Baby emboldened himself, but he still stuck close to the little mink. At this moment, an enormous fire phoenix appeared in front of Feng Zhan. The two fire phoenixes were communicating in the unique language of the Phoenix clan. Little fatty, can you hear what they're saying? The little silver mink asked Baby while staring at the two fire phoenixes. The little silver mink couldn't hear them at all because they were too far away. Yes. Baby nodded. Even if he couldn't hear, he could read minds. This was his ability. Quickly translate it for me, the little silver mink said anxiously. Okay. Baby translated the conversation between the two fire phoenixes to the little silver mink. After the two fire phoenixes communicated, the enormous fire phoenix disappeared, and Feng Zhan flew away as well. Little fatty, you did well, the silver mink praised with satisfaction. It felt so good to have a translator with him. He decided that little fatty would be his personal assistant from now on. Big brother, can you not call me little fatty? My name is Baby. Baby pouted unhappily. How was he fat? He was just a little round. No. The little silver mink immediately declined Baby's request. Little fatty, we should go back, the little silver mink continued, but he was laughing in his mind. Ha, I really admire myself. Baby nodded, and the two beasts quickly crept back into the wooden house. After returning to the room, the little silver mink burrowed directly into Leng Ruoxu's arms. Baby could only lie in a small corner by the bed aggrievedly. Boo-hoo. The next morning, when Leng Ruoxue woke up, she found Baby looking at her aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. What happened, Baby? Leng Ruoxue hugged Baby and said with some heartache. It's only been one night, but Baby seems to have gained weight again. What's going on? She really couldn't understand. Nothing. Baby just misses big sister. Baby waved his paws repeatedly. Boo-hoo, the boss also woke up and was still secretly staring at him. He didn't dare to complain. Silly, hasn't big sister always been here? Leng Ruoxue said with some amusement. Why does Baby feel so insecure? What a child. Schwer, the little silver mink called out in dissatisfaction. He burrowed into Leng Ruoxu's arms and squeezed Baby, this eyesore, to the side. Baby naturally didn't dare to make a sound. You're not allowed to bully Baby. Leng Ruoxue raised the little silver mink and looked directly into his beautiful blue eyes. She warned him, but she couldn't help sighing in her heart. Baby had always been very overbearing among her beasts, but this little silver mink could actually make Baby so obedient. She really didn't know how he did it. Schwer, how can you wrong me? Tears welled up in the little silver mink's eyes and rolled down his fluffy face. Ah! Leng Ruoxue was at a loss for words. The more she looked at this little mink, the more she felt that he looked like freak. This feeling was really too strange. Schwer, are you awake? Leng Qingtian called from outside the door. Yes, I'm awake, Grandpa. Leng Ruoxue quickly put the little mink down, got out of bed, and opened the door for her grandfather. Grandpa, what's the matter? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Her grandfather usually wouldn't disturb her so early. Leng Qingtian walked into his granddaughter's room, closed the door, and asked bluntly, Schwer, there are more and more people following us now. What do you plan to do? Grandpa, do you have any good ideas? Leng Ruoxue asked in return with a frown. To be honest, she didn't know what to do either. Grandpa doesn't know either. But I discussed it with Old Man and the others that it would be better if we separated from them. It will be more convenient this way. Leng Qingtian said helplessly. Let me think about it. Grandpa, I'm going for a walk. Then Leng Ruoxue left the wooden house. Leng Ruoxue held the small silver mink in her arms and had a small black furball lay on her shoulder. They left the territory of the Phoenix clan and slowly walked along the seashore. Leng Ruoxue's heart was in a mess. Too many things had happened one after another recently. Alas! Suddenly, Darling's voice sounded in Leng Ruoxue's heart. Master, your cute darling is about to advance. Darling said excitedly from inside the bracelet. Ha, he was so happy. After advancing to level 9 Holy Beast, he could finally consume a green spirit pill. Boo-hoo. He finally succeeded after being in seclusion for so long. He was so excited. Really? That's great. Leng Ruoxue hurriedly released Darling from the bracelet. As soon as he came out, he pounced on Leng Ruoxue excitedly. Ow wow! Darling screamed in pain as he was kicked fiercely. Where did you come from? Darling glared at the silver mink that kicked him, his fluffy face full of anger. I am Schwer's new favorite, the little silver mink announced his status domineeringly, his eyes full of provocation. Beloved master, Darling looked at Leng Ruoxue aggrievedly for comfort. Darling, quickly advance. Leng Ruoxue glared at the little mink helplessly. Why is this little guy more overbearing than baby? Okay, Darling replied. He came out to advance, so he couldn't delay the important matter. As for this little mink, he would deal with him slowly after he became a divine beast. Just advance here. Leng Ruoxue looked around. They were at the seaside, not far from the territory of the Phoenix clan, so it was safe, and no one would disturb them. Okay. Darling returned to his original form and found a large, flat rock to sit cross-legged. After about an hour, Darling broke through the barrier between level 8 and 9. With the descent of heaven and earth laws, he advanced to level 9 Holy Beast. Chapter 221, Breakthrough, Advancement, 1, Beloved Master, I am a level 9 Holy Beast. Darling jumped up and shouted excitedly. He ignored the angry mink and embraced Leng Ruoxue. Okay, eat this. Leng Ruoxue caressed Darling's soft fur and handed him a green pill. Thank you, beloved master. Darling is going to become a divine beast. Darling hugged Leng Ruoxue excitedly and spun around several times. He even stole a kiss on her beautiful face. But his sneaky act had utterly infuriated the little silver mink and baby. These two extremely possessive fellows would definitely make life miserable for Darling in the future. Beloved master, I'm going to advance. Darling reluctantly put down his beloved master and sat back on the large rock. He then ate the green spirit pill and waited quietly. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes were indifferent as she glanced at the peeping eyes in the sea. Humph. They better not act rashly, or I won't mind getting rid of them. It took relatively longer for Darling to advance from level 9 Holy Beast to Divine Beast because he advanced 2 ranks in a row. After they waited for about 6 hours, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth became increasingly dense and flowed steadily toward Darling's body. Sitting cross-legged, Darling instinctively absorbed the rich heaven and earth spiritual energy until he felt that the spiritual energy within his body had reached saturation and could no longer absorb any more. He then poured all his energy into attacking the barrier to becoming a divine beast. After a while, heaven and earth laws descended on this uninhabited sea once again. The stream of heaven and earth laws that descended this time was obviously much larger and took longer than the previous time. After the heaven and earth laws slowly disappeared, Darling finally completed his advancement. Beloved master. After advancing, Darling immediately transformed and walked toward Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue looked at the stunningly beautiful man with boundless charm in front of her. She couldn't help admiring him in her heart. He is really too pleasing to the eye. Darling had transformed into a drop-dead gorgeous man. He was tall, had beautiful purple hair resembling purple orchids, and had dazzling silver eyes similar to stars shining with enchanting light. His temperament was noble and extraordinary, and every move he made was full of the demeanor of a king. Beloved master, do you like Darling's current form? Darling asked shyly and a little nervously, his starry silver eyes full of anticipation. Like, Leng Ruoxue said unabashedly. Who wouldn't like such an attractive and beautiful man? Just looking at him made her feel pleased. Hee, Darling knew that my beloved master would definitely like it. A little smug, Darling stretched out his long arms and hugged Leng Ruoxue tightly. Aha! A cry of pain immediately rang out. Darling held his beautiful face and angrily looked at the little silver mink. Damn it! He kicked me just now, and now he's actually scratching my face with his claws. Boo-hoo! I'm now disfigured. After scratching Darling, the little silver mink proudly showed his sharp little claws and looked provocatively at the fox in human form. Humph! How dare you hug my woman after becoming a human? You're really courting death. Leng Ruoxue's face darkened. She looked speechlessly at the little silver mink and then at Darling, who was covering his face. She asked with concern, Darling, how is it? Beloved master, your Darling's face is disfigured. Darling said aggrievedly, tears rolling in his silver eyes but not falling. No, it won't. Let me see. Leng Ruoxue comforted him and removed Darling's hand covering his face. Really ruthless. There were 5 deep claw marks on Darling's face, and blood was flowing out from the wounds non-stop. Take this. Leng Ruoxue took out a pill and stuffed it into Darling's mouth. The injuries on his face immediately healed, but the 5 claw marks were still on his originally stunning face. And this. Leng Ruoxue took out a bottle of crystal honey and handed it to Darling. Beloved master, boo-hoo, don't cry. Your face will recover within 3 days at most, Leng Ruoxue hurriedly consoled. At the same time, she glared fiercely at the little silver mink. How can you be so ruthless? Schwer. The little silver mink looked at Leng Ruoxue aggrievedly. Boo-hoo. I'm just jealous that stinky fox actually dared to hug you. Let's go back. Leng Ruoxue said to Darling, completely ignoring the little mink. Okay. Darling nodded obediently and looked at the little silver mink with some pride. Humph. How dare you scratch me in front of master? You only have yourself to blame for master not caring about you. Leng Ruoxue brought Darling and the 2 little beasts back to the wooden house. Schwer, who is he? Leng Qingtian, sitting in the living room, couldn't help asking curiously when he saw Schwer bringing another man back. Master's grandfather, Darling. Darling interrupted Leng Ruoxue before she could answer. Ah. You're Darling. You've become a divine beast. Leng Qingtian said in pleasant surprise. Darling also advanced to divine beast. This was great. Their strength increased again. Yes, master's grandfather. Darling was excited too. But what happened to your face? Leng Qingtian looked at Darling with pity. How could a stunningly beautiful man be disfigured? My face, Grandpa, I plan to enter seclusion for a few days, Leng Ruoxue suddenly interrupted them. When Darling advanced just now, she had gained a lot of benefits and was already showing signs of breaking through. She wanted to strike while the iron was hot to see if she could break through. You're going into seclusion at this time? What if someone from the Phoenix clan looks for you? Leng Qingtian asked. He didn't believe that the Phoenix clan really just invited them as guests. I shouldn't be in seclusion for too long. If the Phoenix King wants to see me, ask him to wait. Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. She hadn't had a breakthrough in a long time. This was a rare opportunity that she didn't want to miss. Okay, then go into seclusion at ease. Leng Qingtian hurriedly urged. He knew that his granddaughter must have gained something from the advancement of Darling. Otherwise, she wouldn't have chosen this time to enter seclusion. Schwer's advancement was a huge deal. It couldn't be delayed. Chapter 222, Breakthrough, Advancement, 2. Len Ruoxue nodded. She returned to her room and directly entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Of course, she also brought Darling, Baby, and the little silver mink along with her. Qing Ju, I'll leave them to you. Don't let them fight, Len Ruoxue said to Qing Ju while also warning the three beasts. Big sister, don't worry. They won't be able to fight with me around, Qing Ju promised as he looked at the three seemingly well-behaved beasts. Okay. Big sister is going into seclusion. Don't let anyone disturb me for the next few days, Len Ruoxue ordered and walked straight toward the purple bamboo house. Did you hear what Big Sister said? Be good, or I'll have to lock you up, Qing Ju warned. Then he ignored them and ran along to take care of his herbs. Schwer. The little silver mink lay on the ground, crying out softly in dejection. More tears welled up in his eyes. Boo-hoo. Schwer is really angry with me. He felt so wronged. Boo-hoo. I hate my small body. In fact, he also wanted to pull Schwer into his arms, but he couldn't do it now. Boo-hoo. In the purple bamboo house, Len Ruoxue was completely unaware of the little mink's conflicted thoughts. Right now, she was fully focused on breaking through. The heaven-defying art had a total of 9 levels. She had broken through the first level with the help of her master, and she had only cultivated to the second level now. But she really hadn't expected the second level of the heaven-defying art to be so difficult. The amount of spiritual power required to break through was unimaginable. After accumulating for a period of time, the spiritual power in her body was almost saturated. With Darling's advancement just now, she had vaguely touched the edge of a breakthrough. Therefore, she believed that she should be able to break through in a few days. To be honest, she had been waiting for this day for a long time. Otherwise, she would have been able to advance to spiritual supremacy a long time ago with the amount of spiritual power in her body. But her current cultivation was mainly based on the heaven-defying art. If she couldn't break through in the heaven-defying art, she wouldn't be able to advance to spiritual supremacy. Alas! This was probably the overbearing nature of high-level cultivation techniques. Len Ruoxue sat cross-legged and gathered all the spiritual power in her body to her dantian. She quietly circulated the heaven-defying art in her heart. Now, she could only wait. After an unknown period of time, the spiritual power in Len Ruoxue's body suddenly became restless. Immediately after, it started flowing crazily along the meridians in her body. Moreover, the spiritual power was very disorderly and was running around everywhere. At this moment, Len Ruoxue had an abnormally painful expression on her face. Her forehead was covered with cold sweat, and her face was slightly pale. Slowly, as the spiritual power in her body became more and more orderly, her expression gradually returned to calmness. After a long time, the spiritual power that seemed to be guided by someone began to concentrate in one direction. The originally massive amount of spiritual power gathered and became smaller and smaller until it condensed into a liquid sphere the size of a baby's fist. The liquid sphere of spiritual power slowly circulated along the meridians of her body. At first, the circulation was very slow. Gradually, it became faster and faster. After several cycles, the liquid sphere of spiritual power crashed violently against the barrier that prevented her breakthrough again and again. After countless collisions, the barrier that had become as thin as a cicada's wing shattered with a bang. Len Ruoxue's heaven-defying art finally broke through the second level and entered the third level. After her breakthrough, Len Ruoxue was in no hurry to get up. Instead, she continued to sit on the spot and absorb the rich spiritual power in the space. After entering the third level of the heaven-defying art, the massive amount of spiritual power stored in her body instantly emptied. Her body became like a bottomless pit again and began to absorb the spiritual power of the outside world frantically. After her spiritual power was almost restored twice over from before, Len Ruoxue stopped absorbing and left the purple bamboo house. Schwer! The little silver mink, who had been guarding outside the purple bamboo house, rushed into Len Ruoxue's arms when he saw her. Ah! Why was he so passionate? I only went into seclusion for a few days, right? Leng Ruoxue looked at the little mink lying in her arms and unwilling to get up. Did this little guy make a mistake again? What's the matter? Leng Ruoxue raised the little mink with both hands and looked into his eyes. Shuer, I missed you so much. Don't be mad at me anymore, okay? The little silver mink begged as tears welled up in his eyes. Okay, but you can't be so barbaric anymore. Leng Ruoxue's heart softened as she looked at the little mink's pitiful appearance and reminded him. Yes, yes. The little silver mink nodded repeatedly, but he was thinking that he would never teach Shuer's spirit beasts a lesson in front of her again in his heart. That's more like it. Leng Ruoxue caressed the little mink's soft fur. Big sister, quickly unlock my seal. Qing Ju said impatiently as he stood in front of Leng Ruoxue. Every time she broke through, she would unlock another level of the seal of the Heaven and Earth bracelet, and he could recover another ability. Alright. Leng Ruoxue began unlocking the Heaven and Earth bracelet seal. Qing Ju, what ability did you obtain this time? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Big sister, Qing Ju won't tell you first. You'll know later. Qing Ju smiled mysteriously and kept her guessing. You've become a bad apple, little fellow. Leng Ruoxue pretended to be displeased. Seeing Qing Ju being so smug, she couldn't help stretching out her fingers to pinch his soft little face gently. Wow, it feels really good. Big sister. Qing Ju looked at Leng Ruoxue aggrievedly. Alright, big sister will go out first. I won't fool around with you anymore. Leng Ruoxue smiled gently. She was really afraid that her grandfather and the others would get anxious if she didn't go out now. Moreover, she still had to find a place to advance to spiritual supremacy. After speaking, Leng Ruoxue left the Heaven and Earth bracelet and went directly to the living room, where everyone happened to be. Shuer, you're finally out. Leng Qingtian finally felt relieved when he saw her. Grandpa, what's wrong? Did something happen? Leng Ruoxue asked with a puzzled expression. She had only been in seclusion for a few days, right? Why did her grandfather look so anxious? Chapter 223, Breakthrough, Advancement, 3, Little girl, you've been in seclusion for 5 days. How was it? Did you break through? Old man asked with concern. Yes, I can advance now. Leng Ruoxue nodded. That's good. After hearing this, Leng Qingtian and the others were relieved. What happened to you? Leng Ruoxue looked at their troubled expressions and became a little nervous. Did something really happen? Was it Feng De? Don't be nervous. It's nothing. It's just that Feng Linger has been looking for you every day for the past few days, but she didn't tell us why. That's why we're a little worried, Leng Qingtian explained while wiping the cold sweat off his forehead. It seemed that their nervousness scared Shuer. Leng Ruoxue sighed in relief and complained, Grandpa, you guys can't scare me like this. Hee hee, little girl, we were just worried about you, old man said somewhat embarrassedly. By the way, little girl, did anything happen in your space after you broke through? Old man whispered curiously into Leng Ruoxue's ear. Alas, he really wanted to go in and take a look. Unfortunately, it wasn't convenient now. I'll bring you in to take a look later, and you'll know, Leng Ruoxue said mysteriously but was sweating profusely in her heart. In fact, she was afraid that her grandfather and the others would be anxious, so she directly ran out without observing. Okay. I haven't been there for a long time. I was just missing it. Old man was excited. The space was really a good place. But what was more magical was that every time Shuer broke through, the space would change as well. He was really looking forward to it. Leng Ruoxue shot a look at her grandfather and the others, and the old men tacitly found an excuse to leave the living room. However, they didn't return to their rooms but slipped directly into Shuer's room. After a while, Leng Ruoxue also returned and sent the 3 anxious old men into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Wow, little girl, the area here has become bigger again, Old Man said with surprise. The spiritual energy was also more intense and was even showing signs of liquefying. This is really too unbelievable. Not only that. After Big Sister broke through, 2 more fields appeared, and I can plant even more things now. Qing Ju's beautiful little face was full of pride as he constantly thought about what to plant. Qing Ju, you are an artifact spirit. Why are you so passionate about farming? Leng Ruoxue was a little speechless. She really couldn't understand. Moreover, it seemed like having 2 more fields actually made Qing Ju happier than unlocking the seal. Big Sister, although I am an artifact spirit, planting is also my talent. Qing Ju said endlessly. He only had 3 original abilities, and planting was one of them. During the years he was sealed, he had relied on planting to pass the time. Therefore, planting had already become an indispensable joy for him. Farming is good. If Qing Ju didn't take care of all the fields, how could we have so much delicious food? Leng Qingtian praised with a smile, not thinking that Qing Ju was wasting his talents at all. Grandpa understands me, Qing Ju echoed. In that case, quickly go and plant your fields. Big Sister is going to advance, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas, these old men would spoil Qing Ju sooner or later. After leaving the Heaven and Earth bracelet and then the wooden house, Leng Ruoxue deliberately found a remote place to advance. This should do, right? Leng Ruoxue murmured to herself. This place was very far from the Phoenix clan's territory, and there were mountains all around it, so no one should notice. In fact, she didn't want others to know that she had so many beasts. Leng Ruoxue released all her beasts from her space. Immediately, thousands of beasts crowded the entire mountain stream. I am about to advance. Prepare yourselves, Leng Ruoxue said to the beasts, but her eyes were on the little silver mink. Oh, I've yet to contract with this little thing. Little thing, we have yet to establish a contract, right? Leng Ruoxue asked the little mink. Shuer, you advance first. We can't contract now. The little silver mink's eyes darkened. I don't want to become Shuer's contract beast. Boo-hoo. Okay then. Leng Ruoxue didn't want to make things difficult for the little mink, nor did she ask him why because a voice in her heart kept telling her that this little mink would not hurt her. Leng Ruoxue randomly found a place to sit cross-legged, and then she mobilized the spiritual power in her body to break through the barrier to becoming a spiritual supremacy. After a while, Heaven and Earth laws descended on the mountain stream and shrouded Leng Ruoxue. She absorbed the Heaven and Earth laws without any qualms. It was a reward bestowed upon the cultivator. After a long while, the Heaven and Earth laws slowly dissipated, and she completed her advancement and became a spiritual supremacy. Immediately after, Heaven and Earth laws descended once again. After their master, Leng Ruoxue, advanced, her beasts also began to advance one after another. Dazzling lights flashed in the mountain stream for a long time. Except for a few that were already divine beasts, all the silver wolves advanced. The one who advanced the most advanced 3 levels. The Silver Wolf King directly advanced to a level 9 holy beast. This was a pleasant surprise for Leng Ruoxue. Silver Wings, advanced directly to divine beast. Leng Ruoxue looked at the majestic Silver Wolf King. Yes, master. Silver Wings began to wait after eating a green spirit pill. Several hours later, Heaven and Earth laws finally descended, and Silver Wings officially advanced to divine beast. Leng Ruoxue's divine beasts expanded in numbers again. Even in human form, Silver Wings still fit his identity as the Silver Wolf King well. He had a tall and robust body, cold and handsome facial features, flowing silver hair, chilling and intimidating silver eyes, and the temperament of a king. This was the true king of the wolves. After her beasts advanced, Leng Ruoxue sent them all back into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. She then strolled back to the Phoenix clan's territory with the little silver mink in her arms. Little sister Ruoxue, you're finally back. Feng Linger was waiting anxiously for Leng Ruoxue at the entrance of the Phoenix clan's territory. Chapter 224, The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life. 1. Big Sister, are you looking for me? Leng Ruoxue looked at Feng Linger doubtfully. Little Sister Ruoxue, Royal Father wants to see you, Feng Linger said anxiously. Oh. What is it? Leng Ruoxue was surprised. Is Feng Zhan finally going to reveal his purpose? I'm not sure either. Royal Father refuses to tell me, Feng Linger said helplessly. This was why she was so anxious. Then take me to see the Phoenix King, Big Sister. Leng Ruoxue frowned slightly. Feng Zhan was really mysterious. He didn't even tell his daughter. Okay, let's go. Feng Linger pulled Leng Ruoxue toward the Phoenix King's resting palace. Royal Father, Little Sister Ruoxue is here, Feng Linger whispered outside the palace when they arrived at the entrance. Let Miss Leng in. The Phoenix King's elegant voice came from outside. Little Sister Ruoxue, go in by yourself. Big Sister won't accompany you, Feng Linger said meaningfully. Her father wanted to see Ruoxue, so she wouldn't be a third wheel. Okay. Leng Ruoxue pushed open the palace door and walked in directly. The Phoenix King's resting palace looked like an enormous sycamore tree from the outside, but it was a completely different world inside. After entering the Phoenix King's resting palace, Leng Ruoxue looked up slightly. The decorations here were very similar to a human's room. It was mainly red with a golden background, and there were many phoenix totems on the walls and pillars. Miss Leng. Feng Zhan walked out of the inner room and blocked Leng Ruoxue with his tall body. Hello, Phoenix King, Leng Ruoxue greeted politely. Miss Leng, you broke through. Congratulations. Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes sized Leng Ruoxue up. Leng Ruoxue nodded slightly and then asked, May I ask why you are looking for Ruoxue, Phoenix King? Miss Leng, please sit. I'll tell you a story. Feng Zhan pointed at a chair not far away. Tell me a story. Leng Ruoxue sat down in the chair and looked at Feng Zhan in bewilderment. She couldn't help wondering what the Phoenix King was up to. Did he look for her so frantically just to tell her a story? Yes, a very important story. Feng Zhan sighed softly and helplessly. Oh, please start then, Phoenix King. Leng Ruoxue said impatiently. She was not very interested in the Phoenix King's story, but she very much wanted to know Feng Zhan's purpose. It seems like Miss Leng is still an impatient person, Feng Zhan teased with a smile. Yes, my companion is still with the Dragon Clan. I'm very worried, Leng Ruoxue explained. What she implied was that he should quickly tell her his purpose. After that, she would go and save someone. Don't worry, Miss Leng. Your friend's life is not in danger in the Dragon Clan, Feng Zhan said with confidence, his face full of mystery. I'm afraid he will be tortured, Leng Ruoxue said. Of course, she knew that Feng Da's life wouldn't be in danger. After all, Feng Da had a dragon as his contract beast. If the Dragon Clan wanted to kill Feng Da, it was equivalent to killing one of their own. This wasn't something the Dragon Clan, who claimed to be the most united, would do. I'm afraid physical pain is unavoidable, Feng Zhan said honestly. So, Phoenix King, just tell me directly. Stop keeping me in suspense, Leng Ruoxue said a little impatiently. Alright. Actually, I hope Miss Leng can stay in the Phoenix Clan, Feng Zhan said, shocking her. What? Leng Ruoxue asked uncertainly. Did I hear right? I hope Miss Leng can stay with us, Feng Zhan repeated patiently, his dark red phoenix eyes full of anticipation. I'm sorry, but that's unlikely. I still have important things to do. I can't stay in the same place forever, Leng Ruoxue explained implicitly. Although she didn't know why the Phoenix King said that, she didn't want to anger Feng Zhan, lest he destroyed all of them in a fit of anger. Miss Leng, if you are willing to stay in the Phoenix Clan, you will be the king of the Phoenix Clan from now on, and you can choose any handsome man in our Phoenix Clan. Feng Zhan threw out a big bait. He believed that no one could refuse such a generous offer. Leng Ruoxiu's face darkened, and she was at a loss for words. What does the Phoenix King mean? I can choose any handsome man I want. Do I look like a pervert? The little silver mink, who had been acting as a pet in Leng Ruoxiu's arms, heard what Feng Zhan said and hated him. Damn it. He could understand wanting to keep Shuer in the Phoenix clan, but he couldn't tolerate the idea of giving her a man of the Phoenix clan. Humph. Shuer can only be mine. What do you think, Miss Leng? Feng Zhan couldn't help asking when he saw Leng Ruoxiu not responding for a long time. I appreciate your kindness, Phoenix King. But I really can't stay in the Phoenix clan. As for the handsome man, I think I should leave him to the women of the Phoenix clan. Leng Ruoxiu replied after choosing her words carefully for some time. Miss Leng, don't make your decision too hastily. Let me finish telling you the story. Feng Zhan said leisurely and sighed softly. At first, he thought that his bait would be enough to attract Leng Ruoxiu, but she unexpectedly remained unmoved. He had no choice but to tell her honestly in hopes of convincing her. To be honest, he really didn't want to tell anyone about it if possible. After all, it was considered a humiliation to the Phoenix clan. Okay. Pray tell, Phoenix King. Leng Ruoxiu urged. Miss Leng, actually, our Phoenix clan doesn't belong to this world. There are many spirit beasts in this world that didn't once belong here. We came from an extremely distant place. That place is a holy land that all humans and beasts have yearned for a long time, Feng Zhan said softly, as if he had fallen into a trance, lost in his memories. Then why are you here? Leng Ruoxiu didn't deny that the Phoenix King's words piqued her curiosity. Seems like Feng Zhan really has a secret. That's because our Phoenix clan, the Dragon clan, and even other beasts were exiled here after a great war 100,000 years ago, Feng Zhan explained with deep pain in his eyes. Chapter 225, The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life, 2, Exiled. Leng Ruoxiu was puzzled. Only criminals would be exiled, right? Did the Dragon and Phoenix clans of the Ling Feng continent commit crimes? There was a traitor in the Phoenix clan, and the Phoenix King bloodline was exiled. I was only an egg when I was sent to this world. Back then, the Phoenix King was sealed, and the clan members who supported him were all exiled to various worlds. I was the youngest son of the Phoenix King, and after I was born, the clan members of this world supported me to become king. We live in this world. However, not only are our strengths limited, but we are also unable to ascend to the upper realm. However, the high priest of the Phoenix clan once prophesied that our Phoenix clan will have a new master, and she will also be the savior of our Phoenix clan. You are our new master, Feng Zhan explained. Are you sure? Leng Ruoxiu asked lightly, but she kept communicating with Qing Ju in her heart. Qing Ju, do you know about the Great War 100,000 years ago? Leng Ruoxiu asked curiously. Big sister, the Great War 100,000 years ago should be referring to the time Old Master died, Qing Ju said sadly. Old Master has been dead for 100,000 years. Boo-hoo. In that case, it's possible that this Phoenix King was from the same world as Master? Leng Ruoxiu couldn't be sure if what Feng Zhan said was true. The Phoenix clan is a very large race and was very powerful in the world where Old Master was. They were one of the 4 kings under the beast god. But I'm not sure as to whether or not there was a traitor among the Phoenix clan, Qing Ju said after carefully recalling. Qing Ju, do you think the Phoenix King's words are trustworthy? Leng Ruoxiu asked. The Phoenix King should be telling the truth, Qing Ju said after tilting his head in thought for a while. Okay. Leng Ruoxiu severed the connection after communicating with Qing Ju in her head. The high priest once said that a woman would save our Phoenix clan. Feng Zhan looked at Leng Ruoxiu and nodded with certainty. Phoenix King, there are many women in this world. Are you sure that it's me? Leng Ruoxiu asked coldly. Miss Leng, there are indeed many women in the world, but not all of them can come to the Phoenix clan. Zhan smiled mysteriously. Phoenix King, stop keeping me in suspense. I won't agree unless you tell me clearly, Leng Ruoxue said coldly. She didn't want to be used by others. Miss Leng, I'm telling the truth. The new master mentioned in the High Priest's prophecy is indeed you. Zhan said with certainty. Many people don't know why the Phoenix clan and the Dragon clan rarely travel on the Ling Feng continent. Does Miss Leng want to know? Zhan asked with a smile. Could there be something else? Leng Ruoxue guessed. Yes, because there is a barrier outside Grief Remedy Forest that limits our movement. What I mean is that the members of the Phoenix clan who have advanced to divine beasts are unable to appear alone on the Ling Feng continent unless they have a master. Similarly, people outside are unable to come to the Phoenix nest. Even if someone passes through the barrier, they are unable to pass through Grief Remedy Forest safely. Miss Leng and the others are the only humans who have been able to come to the Phoenix nest for the past tens of thousands of years, Zhan explained the reason to Leng Ruoxue. But you can't just assume that I'm your new master, can you? Doesn't the Phoenix clan exist in every world? Leng Ruoxue continued asking her doubts. I was exiled to this world with the mission of finding the new master of the Phoenix clan because the High Priest said that the new master of the Phoenix clan would appear in the lower dimensions. Zhan sighed. He had waited for so long before she finally arrived. But this new master seemed to be of strong character and was determined not to be moved by temptation. Since your High Priest is so powerful, why didn't he predict that there would be a traitor in the Phoenix clan? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She had never believed in prophecies, she only believed in herself. No prophecy can predict what is related to you or things beyond your authority, so the High Priest was helpless. After all, the people involved in the war back then had extraordinary identities, Zhan said simply. Even though he was not born yet, he knew a little about the war. You are limited by the barrier. What about the Dragon clan? Why can they go to the Ling Feng continent to capture someone? Leng Ruoxue was puzzled. Wasn't the Dragon clan exiled like the Phoenix clan? The Dragon clan is different from us. The barrier is much less restrictive on the Dragon clan than on the Phoenix clan, Zhan said with some indignation. It was really too unfair. They were kept here and not allowed to leave just because they could spit fire, while the dragons could leave, even though there was a restriction on the time and number. Phoenix King, you said that I'm your new master, but I'm only a spiritual supremacy and weak now. I'm afraid, Leng Ruoxue hesitated. She didn't want the Phoenix King to have too much hope and treat her as their savior, so she decided to give him forewarning. Master, we're not in a hurry. We have waited for so long. Moreover, time is nothing to the Phoenix clan, Zhan consoled hurriedly. Of course, he knew that Leng Ruoxue definitely wouldn't be able to lead them in rebuilding their glory with her current strength. But they had plenty of time, so they could wait. That's good. Leng Ruoxue seemed to be at ease, but she couldn't help worrying in her heart. He already started calling her master even though she didn't seem to have agreed. Master, then let's choose a time to contract. Zhan said impatiently. Okay. Leng Ruoxue felt like she was being forced into a corner. But she knew that contracting with the Phoenix clan would be very beneficial for her, but nonetheless. Phoenix King, I don't want to contract with the entire Phoenix clan, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. Master, why is this so? Zhan asked with a bitter face. Did some idiot from the Phoenix clan offend her? He had already warned his clan that Leng Ruoxue was a distinguished guest, so they had to treat her well. I want some of the Phoenix clan to contract with my subordinates. Leng Ruoxue revealed the plan that she had been brewing. Master, how about this? You contract the entire Phoenix clan first. As for the contract beasts for your subordinates, he'll take care of it, Zhan said after some thought. It was not that he disliked his master's subordinates. But he thought that it would cause some of the clan members to feel that their master despised them if she didn't contract with all of them. As the king of the Phoenix clan, he naturally had to consider the interests of his own clan. Chapter 226, The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life, 3, okay. Leng Ruoxue agreed readily. She also knew that beasts like dragons and phoenixes would not casually contract with humans, so she didn't want to make things difficult for Feng Zhan. After settling the matter with Feng Zhan, Leng Ruoxue returned to the wooden house. Inside the heaven and earth bracelet. Grandpa, did you hear what Feng Zhan just said to me? Leng Ruoxue asked the three old men in front of her. Oh, Shuer, so that's what the Phoenix King wants. That's fortunate. I was still worried that he would harm us. Ling Qingtian said with a sigh of relief. Little girl, your luck is really infuriating. Even the Phoenix clan came knocking on your door to contract with you. Alas, why don't I have such good luck? Old man said with a sigh. Yes, even I am jealous of you. Lin Liang's tone might be complaining, but his expression was not the least bit that way. Instead, his face was full of joy, as if he had contracted with them himself. Shuer, contracting the Phoenix clan will be very beneficial for you now. But Grandpa is a little worried about the traitor of the Phoenix clan, Ling Qingtian said worriedly. He didn't want his granddaughter to suffer any harm. Contracting with the Phoenix clan had both pros and cons. He was afraid that the Phoenix clan would become a time bomb. Grandpa, even without the Phoenix clan, there are some things that I can't avoid, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. The matter of the Phoenix clan involved the Great War 100,000 years ago, and that war was obviously related to her master, so she couldn't avoid it at all. Instead of running away, it was better to start accumulating her strength now. Shuer, what do you mean? Leng Qingtian was puzzled. Yes, Ruoxue. What do you mean? Lin Liang and Old Man were equally puzzled. I have to begin by explaining about my master. Leng Ruoxue explained everything in detail to Ling Qingtian and the others. After listening to her, the three of them fell silent. Shuer, Grandpa will definitely help you no matter how formidable your future enemy is, Ling Qingtian said calmly with a serious face after a while. Shuer's words were beyond his expectations. No wonder Shuer has never taken the Su family seriously. The Su family is just a small fry compared to that enemy. Alas. It seems we've set our sights too low. Little girl, even though my strength is limited, I am also very willing to help you as long as you are willing to accept me. Old Man also expressed his attitude very seriously. Hee, how can I miss out on this kind of thing? Lin Liang chimed in as well, taking on the responsibility as well. Being together with young people really made him so energetic. It seemed like he had to cultivate harder in the future and not be outdone by this little girl. Leng Ruoxue looked at Old Man and Lin Liang, a little touched. She wasn't surprised that her grandfather said so, but she didn't expect these two to say the same. In fact, she could understand even if they didn't help. Little girl, don't look at me like that. I am too old and can't take it. Old Man said with an exaggerated expression on his face. You old fart. What nonsense are you saying? Ling Qingtian glared at him. Ruoxue, I have decided. I want to enter seclusion here and cultivate diligently, lest I become a burden later on. Lin Liang revealed his plan after thinking about it. I can't fall behind Brat Lin. I want to enter seclusion as well, Old Man hurriedly said. No. If both of you are in seclusion, what should Shuer say if someone asks? Ling Qingtian disagreed, directly denying their thoughts. Old Man, Grandpa Lin, wait for me to save Feng De and destroy the spiritual deities of the Su family before you enter seclusion. Leng Ruoxue said with a slight frown. All right. Time can accelerate here anyway, so a few more days won't hurt. Old Man and Lin Liang nodded. I'll send you out first. We've been here for a long time, Leng Ruoxue said to the three old men. Okay. After sending the three of them out of the heaven and earth bracelet, Leng Ruoxue entered the purple bamboo house. Freak, are you doing okay? Leng Ruoxue put the little silver mink aside and murmured to herself while staring at Freak's frozen body. I miss you so much, Leng Ruoxue said softly, choked up as tears rolled down her cheeks. Shuer, the little silver mink called softly. He wanted to jump into Leng Ruoxue's arms, but Shuer ignored him. Boo-hoo. The little silver mink hated Shuer for neglecting him. Boo-hoo, he was so jealous of the big ice block lying on the bed, even though he knew that his idea was ridiculous because it was actually him. But he really... Shuer, do you know how much I want to tell you that I am your freak? But... Boo-hoo, he felt so inferior now, and he was even more unwilling to let Shuer know that he was now a little mink who couldn't even transform into a human. Shuer. The little silver mink calmed down and gently tugged on Leng Ruoxue's sleeve. What's wrong? Leng Ruoxue looked at the little mink with tears in her eyes, her face full of confusion. Shuer, don't cry. He isn't dead, the little silver mink comforted. Boo-hoo, seeing Shuer's tears made him both happy and distressed. His mood was conflicted. What did you say? How do you know? The little mink's words exploded in Leng Ruoxue's ears like a bomb. Leng Ruoxue picked up the little silver mink in disbelief and raised him in front of her eyes to look directly into those incomparably beautiful blue eyes. He's not dead, the little silver mink repeated, but he was very nervous. Shuer wouldn't see anything, would she? How do you know? Leng Ruoxue asked anxiously, her heart racing. My inherited memories told me. Moreover, I know how to dispel the frosty palm's poison, the little silver mink suddenly said confidently. He was really too smart to think of such a reason. Tell me quickly, Leng Ruoxue said anxiously. Chapter 227, The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life, 4, Shuer, you're hugging me too tightly. You're going to strangle me. Relax, the little silver mink said with some difficulty. He didn't want to die again before he was revived. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Leng Ruoxue relaxed her hands. She was relieved to see the little mink breathing more smoothly. Shuer, his injuries are too serious. That's why you thought he was dead. In fact, he can wake up as long as the frosty palm's poison is cured, the little silver mink explained. Really? How can I cure the poison? Leng Ruoxue asked anxiously. She didn't doubt what the little mink said at all. After all, even though everyone said that the Su family's frosty palm was incurable, there seemed to be many secret techniques in the inherited memories of beasts. So it was normal for the little mink to know. You need 1,000-year fire lotus. The little mink was a little hesitant. No matter which world fire lotuses were in, they were rare and precious, let alone 1,000-year-old one. In fact, the reason why fire lotuses were difficult to find was mainly because of their stringent growing environment. I will think of a way to find 1,000-year fire lotus, Leng Ruoxue said resolutely. Since she now knew that Freak wasn't dead, she had to think of a way to save him. She said before that she wouldn't let Freak leave her. Little mink, thanks for telling me this information, Leng Ruoxue said gratefully as she hugged the little mink tightly. Shuer, fire lotuses love fire. It's possible to find traces of them in places with rich fire element or in volcanoes, the little silver mink reminded. Fire lotuses were heavenly treasures and earthly materials, and they were born from heaven and earth's spiritual energy. It was very possible that fire lotuses more than 1,000 years old had already developed intelligence and knew how to avoid danger, so they were not easy to find. They like fire. I'll ask the Phoenix King. Leng Ruoxue thought about it. The Phoenix clan also liked fire, so would the Phoenix clan have fire lotuses? Actions spoke louder than words. With this in mind, Leng Ruoxue immediately left the Heaven and Earth bracelet and greeted her grandfather before heading straight for Feng Zhan. After arriving at the Phoenix King's resting palace, Leng Ruoxue explained her purpose. Fire lotus? Feng Zhan frowned and pondered for a long time. Master, I am sure that there are no fire lotuses in the Phoenix clan. But there's an active volcano in our territory. There may be a fire lotus there, Zhan guessed after thinking for a while. Although the Phoenix clan was of the fire attribute, they didn't know much about alchemy and artificing, so they were not too interested in these things. Really? Ill look then. Leng Ruoxue was about to leave when Zhan stopped her. Master, don't be hasty. It's very dangerous there. I'll go with you after the master acknowledgement ceremony tomorrow, Zhan said helplessly. Master is really impatient. Okay. Leng Ruoxue knew that she indeed needed a guide. Moreover, there were guardian beasts wherever spirit plants grew. It would be a waste not to use him since he was willing to be a fighter for her. Oh right, have you heard of essence restoration grass? Leng Ruoxue continued asking. Zhan had lived for so long, so he should have heard of it, right? Essence restoration grass. What does Master want essence restoration grass for? Zhan asked curiously. Although the Phoenix clan wasn't good at alchemy and artificing, their understanding of herbs and minerals was unparalleled. My brother is injured and needs a pill concocted from essence restoration grass, Leng Ruoxue explained simply. Essence restoration grass isn't something precious, but there aren't many in this world. Zhan smiled gently with a mysterious expression. You know? Then tell me. Where can I find it? Leng Ruoxue hurriedly asked. She had always been worried about her brother's matter, and she had never forgotten it. The dragon clan should have some, Zhan directly said, not beating around the bush. But that essence restoration grass. I'll go to the dragon clan the day after tomorrow, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. She planned to visit the Phoenix clan's underground volcano tomorrow. Then I'll go with Master. Zhan's handsome face was full of cunning. The dragon clan. I have to teach that stinky dragon a lesson. Leng Ruoxue nodded in agreement. The next day, the Phoenix King led all his people to acknowledge Leng Ruoxue as their master formally in the Phoenix clan's chamber hall. After the master acknowledgement ceremony, Zhan brought Leng Ruoxue to the active volcano. It's so hot here. Leng Ruoxue felt the blazing heat before reaching the entrance of the volcano. It rushed at her face and grilled her body uncomfortably. Master, come closer to me, Zhan said to Leng Ruoxue and used his spiritual power to protect her body. Much better. Leng Ruoxue felt much better, and her body was not as uncomfortable as before with Zhan's protection. Although she also had fire attribute spiritual power, the temperature here was a little unbearable. Master, we can reach the interior of the volcano from here. Zhan pointed at a small cave. Leng Ruoxue looked at the small cave. The entrance was very small, and only one person could enter each time. After the two of them entered the entrance, the space inside suddenly became spacious. Be careful. There are many poisonous bugs here, Zhan whispered to Leng Ruoxue. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded and looked around carefully at the environment in front of her. The light was very dim, but she could still see clearly that the place closest to the entrance of the cave was very dry. The entire cave was dark red, and the stone walls and ground were covered with volcanic ash, which had already condensed into blocks because it had been so long. The two of them walked in carefully. The farther they went, the darker it became. At this moment, Zhan lit a torch that illuminated the entire cave. Aha! Leng Ruoxue covered her mouth and threw up uncontrollably. It was so disgusting. The mountain walls were densely covered with red bugs that resembled spiders, making her hair stand on end. Charm! Leng Ruoxue quickly let Charm out and hugged him tightly. Master, don't be scared. Charm quickly comforted her and released his ice spiritual skill, freezing the entire mountain walls into thin ice. The temperature of the volcano immediately dropped significantly. Purple-eyed snow fox. Zhan was surprised. He looked at the snow-white little fox in Leng Ruoxue's arms and felt somewhat uncomfortable. I'm also Master's beast, okay? Why doesn't she hug me? Chapter 228, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao, 1, Fire Phoenix. Charm narrowed his beautiful purple eyes as he sized up Feng Zhan. Even though the status of purple-eyed snow foxes among beasts was inferior to that of phoenix races, it was still difficult to say who would emerge victorious if they really fought. Let's go in. Leng Ruoxue urged, ignoring the sparks flying between the two beasts. Master, follow me closely, Feng Zhan said softly as his gaze turned to Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue nodded and slowly walked behind Feng Zhan. After walking for about an hour, they finally arrived at the center of the volcano. Leng Ruoxue looked up at the scene in front of her with astonishment. It was really too spectacular. She saw fiery red magma slowly flowing on the walls of the mountain and finally gathered together and flowed into a natural pool. The magma in the pool was like boiling water, bubbling and gushing around non-stop. Master, this is the center of the volcano. If there is a fire lotus, it should be here, Feng Zhan explained. Fire lotuses like to grow in places with the densest fire element. Let's look for one. Leng Ruoxue nodded. This area wasn't small, so she hoped she could find one. Then let's split up and search. Master, be careful, Feng Zhan said worriedly. Leng Ruoxue nodded and began looking around. Be careful. Suddenly, Feng Zhan's exclamation sounded from behind Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue instinctively turned her head and saw an ugly fiery red monster rushing at her. She was shocked, and charm in her arms had already pounced at the monster. Feng Zhan hurriedly walked to Leng Ruoxue's side and asked with concern, Master, are you all right? I'm fine, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. She was just shocked. After all, no woman would like something so ugly. What is this? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. The monster-fighting charm had the exact same head and tail, and it was impossible to distinguish what was what. Its body was more than 10 meters long and as thick as a water bucket, and its skin was red but transparent. Moreover, she could vaguely see the blood vessels inside and the liquid flowing slowly in its body. It is a fire-earth dragon. It is born in magma and eats magma, Feng Zhan explained to Leng Ruoxue while staring at the two beasts fighting. This fire-earth dragon actually had the strength of a holy beast. It was really unbelievable. Fire-earth dragons were known to be very weak and having very short lifespans. Could there have been some kind of mutation in this dragon? Are you sure? Leng Ruoxue looked at Feng Zhan doubtfully. Why was this fire-earth dragon so strong? Yes, it must have mutated. I'll go help that fox, Feng Zhan guessed and then flew toward the fire-earth dragon. What are you doing here? Charm, who was fighting with the fire-earth dragon, asked with slight displeasure when he saw Feng Zhan appear. I'm here to help. This is its territory. Even if you're stronger than it, you won't be able to show your superiority, Feng Zhan said very kindly as he released his southern spirit flame. Stop arguing. End this quickly. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Just as she finished speaking, she heard a painful howl coming from the fire-earth dragon. Its body was on fire. Are you sure your fire is effective? Charm asked deliberately, not wanting to see this man being too smug. Of course. My fire isn't something that can be devoured by just anything, Feng Zhan said confidently. Even though fire-earth dragons fed on magma, they could also consume flames. But he was soon dumbfounded. How could this happen? Feng Zhan muttered in disbelief. His eyes had to be playing tricks on him because the mutated fire-earth dragon actually slowly absorbed the flames on its body, and its strength instantly increased by several levels. This fire-earth dragon is very strange. Charm was also in disbelief. None of the fire-earth dragons he knew were so strange. Moreover, fire-earth dragons couldn't be considered spirit beasts at all. Even at the holy beast level, they were unable to develop intelligence or speak. But this fire-earth dragon could actually devour the southern spirit flame, which was abnormal in itself. Let me try. After speaking, Leng Ruoxue directly released the heaven-level spiritual skill feather of the fire phoenix. This fire-earth dragon was not afraid of the Phoenix clan's southern spirit flame. Would it be afraid of her divine flame? Master's flame, Feng Zhan's thoughts raced as he looked at the small and cute feather. Although the entire feather was fiery red, on careful look, people would notice that the center of the flame feather was deep purple with the outermost edge golden. Moreover, the temperature was extremely high. Could this be the legendary? While Feng Zhan was thinking, the small fiery red feather had already begun to disintegrate into countless feathers and entangle the body of the fire-earth dragon. Immediately, painful howls resounded from the fire-earth dragon. I wonder if this fire-earth dragon can swallow my divine flame as well. Leng Ruoxue couldn't help thinking. She was really curious. Moreover, she specially added her natal divine flame into the feather of the flame phoenix. She hoped that this fire-earth dragon wouldn't disappoint her. Unfortunately, the fire-earth dragon still disappointed Leng Ruoxue because it only took 10 minutes before her divine flame burned it to ashes. Huh? What is this? Leng Ruoxue picked up a fiery red translucent crystal that resembled a diamond from the ashes. Master, this is something good. You're rich. Feng Zhan said excitedly. Heavens, how can this thing exist in this world? No wonder that fire-earth dragon mutated. With this thing around, all fire attribute spirit beasts would benefit greatly. What is this? Leng Ruoxue's face was full of question marks. Is this a diamond? This is a fire crystal core. Countless fire crystals can be produced as long as it is around. Fire crystals are very important to fire attribute cultivators, Feng Zhan explained simply. In his hometown, crystals of various attributes were used to assist cultivation. Master, it's enough to absorb spiritual energy from heaven and earth to cultivate in this dimension. But when you reach a higher dimension, you'll need crystals of various attributes to assist your cultivation. It's a little early to tell you all this now. You'll understand more when you go to a higher dimension, Feng Zhan continued. Chapter 229, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao, 2, Leng Ruoxue nodded. She understood what Feng Zhan meant. The higher your level, the more heaven and earth spiritual energy you required. Therefore, various methods that could assist in cultivation would be very important at that time. Continue searching. Leng Ruoxue stored the fire crystal core in the heaven and earth bracelet and handed it to Qing Ju for safekeeping. After some thought, she released Quill. Quill, can you see with your X-ray vision in here? Leng Ruoxue asked. Master, heavenly materials and earthly treasures cannot be seen through, Quill said helplessly. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures had their own spirituality, and only those who were fated could obtain them. Oh, take your time then, Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. In fact, she had already guessed this. Otherwise, Quill would have come out to help long ago. Master, we want to help too, Dazzle said from the bracelet. All right, all of you come out. Leng Ruoxue let out the other beasts. The more beasts there were, the more hands they would have. After coming out, they each occupied a spot and searched carefully. Master, there's a flower here, Rise suddenly called out. Where? Leng Ruoxue came to Rise's location and looked around. There was nothing except a large rock. Under the rock. Rise lowered his head and motioned Leng Ruoxue to look down. Leng Ruoxue squatted down and looked at the large rock under Rise. There was indeed a small flower in the gap under the rock, but it was still a small bud. The flower was entirely fiery red, slightly smaller than an adult's palm, and exuded a faint lotus fragrance. Found it! Leng Ruoxue shouted excitedly. Feng Zhan immediately came to Leng Ruoxue's side, glanced at the small fire lotus, and said honestly, Master, this isn't a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. I know, but it's better than nothing, Leng Ruoxue said happily. She had the heaven and earth bracelet, so as long as she could find a fire lotus, even if it was not 1,000 years old, she could plant it and make it into a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. Ah. That's true, Master. I'll dig it out, Zhan volunteered. Okay. Leng Ruoxue gave her spot to Zhan. Zhan first moved the rock away, then squatted down and carefully dug out the fire lotus from the ground. He then handed it to Leng Ruoxue. After receiving the fire lotus, Leng Ruoxue directly sent it into the bracelet and handed it to Qingju. Let's go back. Leng Ruoxue knew that only a single heavenly material and earthly treasure would grow in a place, so there was no need to continue looking. Okay. Zhan nodded, and the few beasts also jumped onto Leng Ruoxue's arms or shoulders. Following their original route, Leng Ruoxue, Zhan, and the other beasts left the active volcano and returned to the Phoenix clan's territory. In the wooden house. Shuer, you're back. How was your harvest? Leng Qingtian asked curiously. He already knew that Freak had not really died, but 1,000-year fire lotus was not easy to find. It's not bad. We found a small one. Leng Ruoxue was very satisfied. After all, fire lotuses were very difficult to find, so she didn't expect to find one in one try. That's good. Leng Qingtian was relieved. Yes, Grandpa. I'm a little tired. I'll go back to my room to rest first, Leng Ruoxue said. Go quickly. Leng Qingtian hurried his granddaughter upon hearing that she was tired. The moment Leng Ruoxue returned to her room, the little silver mink she left in the room jumped into her arms. Shuer, boo-hoo. How could you abandon me? The little silver mink complained aggrievedly, tears welling up in his blue eyes. You were the one who said you don't like fire, Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Why is this little mink complaining first? But you can't leave me at home, the little silver mink said gloomily. He meant that Shuer could put him in the bracelet, but she actually directly left him in the room. Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you didn't want to go. Leng Ruoxue giggled. Actually, she did it on purpose since this little mink always threatened her with tears. You have to compensate me, the little silver mink said, pushing his luck. He was definitely going to take advantage of Shuer since she couldn't do anything to him anyway. How? Leng Ruoxue was speechless. Why is this little mink so similar to Freak? They're both unwilling to suffer any loss. I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you when I think of it, the little silver mink said slyly. All right. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Then she entered the heaven and earth bracelet with the little mink in her arms. Big sister, I've already planted the fire lotus. I also placed the fire crystal core near it to accelerate its growth. Qingju hurriedly reported his labor results to Leng Ruoxue after seeing her enter. Qingju, you've worked hard. Leng Ruoxue picked up the beautiful and cute toddler. She actually felt a little guilty looking at Qingju's small arms and legs. Is this considered exploiting an underage child? Big sister, you're letting your imagination run wild again. Qingju, who knew what Leng Ruoxue was thinking, rolled his eyes, his pinkish face full of helplessness. He was an artifact spirit, not an underage child. Qingju, when will this fire lotus reach 1,000 years? Leng Ruoxue was embarrassed and quickly changed the topic. Big sister, it should take at least 100 years, adding on the accelerated time in the fire crystal core. Qingju said after thinking with a frown. 100 years? That long? Leng Ruoxue was depressed. Big sister, 100 years is fast. For cultivators, 100 years passes by in the blink of an eye, Qingju said nonchalantly. In his opinion, 100 years was really nothing. For example, his old master could enter seclusion for more than 100 years at a time. Yes, master. Hundreds of years will pass by every time we sleep, Rise couldn't help consoling. Big sister, you just have to cultivate diligently if you wanted to grow into a 1,000-year fire lotus quickly. If you reach old master's level, not to mention 1,000 years, even 10,000 years will pass by in the blink of an eye, Qingju encouraged. He hoped that his big sister could improve her strength quickly so that he could help her even more. Chapter 230, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao, 3, Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxu's forehead. In the blink of an eye. Who takes years to blink? Big sister, I'm just making an analogy. Qingju pouted his pink lips in dissatisfaction. Big sister is really too bad. Qingju, can you not eavesdrop? Leng Ruoxue said awkwardly while wiping the cold sweat off her forehead. She didn't even have the right to privacy anymore. Big sister, there's no need to eavesdrop with soul contracts. I'm listening openly. Qingju covered his small mouth and smiled secretly. Hee, big sister is so cute. I'm going out first. Leng Ruoxue quickly fled after speaking. Boo-hoo. I'm such a failure as a master. Ha! Qingju and the beasts in the bracelet couldn't help laughing out loud. Leng Ruoxue got out of the heaven and earth bracelet, laid on her bed, and had a good night's sleep. When she woke up, it was already the next day. After leaving her room, Leng Ruoxue casually ate something, greeted her grandfather and the others, and went to look for Feng Zhan. As soon as she arrived at the door of his palace, she saw him waiting for her outside. Master! Feng Zhan dashed to Leng Ruoxue's side when he saw her. Let's go. Leng Ruoxue said impatiently. Feng Zhan nodded, and the two of them walked toward the entrance side by side. Big sister, wait for Inflame. Inflame's voice sounded behind them just as they reached the entrance. Leng Ruoxue stopped and looked helplessly at the little vermilion bird who had run into her arms. Inflame, big sister is going to do serious business. Stay in the clan obediently. Since coming to the Phoenix clan, Leng Ruoxue had rarely seen this naughty little guy. She heard that big sister Linger had put this little thing in solitary confinement. Why did he sneak out today? Little sister Ruoxue, I said I would accompany you to the dragon clan. Why didn't you tell me you were going today? Feng Linger appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue with a displeased face and looked at her in annoyance. Leng Ruoxue looked at the handsome man beside Feng Linger and said teasingly, big sister, didn't I do it for your own good? Master. Feng Miao, Feng Linger's husband, bowed respectfully. You don't have to be so polite. My beasts are all very naughty, Leng Ruoxue said uncomfortably. That's right. Ruoxue is my little sister, Feng Linger echoed casually. You're going too? Feng Zhan stared at them. Royal father, I promised little sister Ruoxue that I would accompany her to save her friend. How can I go back on my word? Feng Linger hugged Feng Zhan's arm and acted coquettishly. Then let's go together. Leng Ruoxue glanced at Feng Zhan. Even though she hadn't spent much time with Feng Linger, she knew Feng Linger's fiery nature very well. Feng Miao would probably be the unlucky one if she didn't let this violent fire phoenix follow. Yes. I won't cause any trouble, Feng Linger promised like an obedient child. As if. Feng Zhan didn't believe her words at all. He threw down these two words coldly, turned around, and walked in the direction of the Dragon Clan. They chatted as they walked, and they soon arrived at Dragon Island. Sister Ruoxue, do you see that island? Those stinky dragons live there. Feng Linger pointed at a small island not far away. Leng Ruoxue looked in the direction Feng Linger pointed and saw a small island floating on the sea. Thick fog surrounded the island, so she could not see the surroundings clearly. But how many dragons could live on such a small island? How do we enter? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes stared at Feng Zhan. This dragon island was surrounded by water on all sides, so they probably had to fly there. Master, don't worry. That old dragon will send a dragon to fetch us, Feng Zhan said mysteriously with a cunning face. Really? Leng Ruoxue was a little skeptical. She heard that dragons and phoenixes were enemies. Would the dragon clan really treat them as distinguished guests? Feng Zhan didn't answer Leng Ruoxue but expressed it directly with his actions. Feng Zhan quickly returned to his original form and flew around the sky of Dragon Island. After flying a few rounds, he spat out raging flames. Immediately, flames surged into the sky from the sea surrounding the island. Her forehead full of black lines, Leng Ruoxue looked at the incomparably enormous fire phoenix shining with colorful lights in the sky. Arrogant, too arrogant. This was the first time she had seen someone knock on another's door like this in her life. She really felt that she was too kind compared with Feng Zhan. After releasing the fire, Feng Zhan immediately transformed into a human and stood beside Leng Ruoxue with an innocent face. It was as if the arrogant fire phoenix just now had nothing to do with him. Who dares to cause trouble on Dragon Island? You must be tired of living. An angry roar sounded from Dragon Island, and several huge dragons flew out. Ah! Damn it! It's the Phoenix King. Go and report to the Dragon Emperor. The Phoenix King is here to cause trouble again. Several mighty dragons flew out and retreated in fright when they saw Feng Zhan standing on the beach. Holding back her smile, Leng Ruoxue looked Feng Zhan up and down again and again. No wonder Feng Zhan is so arrogant. It turns out that these dragons are like mice seeing a cat when they see him. Master, they are too cowardly. It's not my fault. Feng Zhan's expression was very innocent. Yes, little sister Ruoxue, the dragon clan is timid and afraid of trouble. They only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong, so we have to deal with them forcefully, Feng Linger explained. She had come to Dragon Island frequently to cause trouble and even beat up many dragons as she grew up, so she didn't care about those stinky dragons at all. Makes sense, Leng Ruoxue agreed helplessly. She had to beat up those who bullied the weak and were afraid of the strong. Perhaps she should find a few of them to beat up later. Damn Feng Zhan, why are you here again? An angry roar sounded deafeningly in the ears of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Then a gigantic purple-golden dragon flew out of Dragon Island. The dragon was about 100 meters long and covered in purple-golden scales. They were as beautiful and translucent as the finest amethysts. A pair of enormous wings stretched out, covering half the sky. Chapter 231, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao. 4. I missed you, so I came to see you, Feng Zhan said softly, as if their relationship was good. Bah, I don't miss you. You don't have to come see me, Long Hao, 1, said disdainfully. Who would believe this sly old fox? Nothing good happened every time this fellow came. You're really too insincere. I came all the way here, but you didn't even invite us in, Feng Zhan complained lightly with an aggrieved expression on his face. Get lost. I didn't invite you. Long Hao roared furiously. He really couldn't stand Feng Zhan's damn appearance. He was clearly a bird, but why was he more cunning than a fox? Hee, please. I won't come if I'm invited. I like to come uninvited, Feng Zhan said provokingly. You. Damn it. Long Hao's anger soared, and he charged directly at Feng Zhan. Don't hurt my master, you stupid fat dragon. Feng Zhan returned to his original form and blocked Long Hao's path. Huh? Your master. Did I hear you right? Ha ha ha. The angry Long Hao was stunned for a moment before he started laughing hysterically. It was too funny. This bird, who was even more cunning than a fox, actually found a master for himself. Wasn't it just looking for trouble? Ha, how could there be freedom being ordered around all day? Laugh all you want. You will cry later. Feng Zhan smiled nonchalantly. He had already expected this stinky dragon's reaction, but he believed that it wouldn't be long before this stinky dragon cried. Humph. I won't cry. Feng Zhan, take this. Long Hao didn't forget the important matter after laughing enough. He still had to teach this bird a lesson. Come on. Feng Zhan lightly flapped his enormous wings and looked at Long Zhan with slight contempt. Soon, the bird and dragon tangled in a fight. Fiery red spiritual power flew everywhere, dazzling in the sky. The two colossi each used their flame and dragon breath to attack each other. Do they fight as soon as they meet? Leng Ruoxue asked helplessly as she looked at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The dragon was on par with Feng Zhan, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Yes, they fight all the time. Master, you just have to get used to it, Feng Miao said nonchalantly. There had never been any peaceful coexistence between dragons and phoenixes, and they would always start fighting the moment they met. Oh, Inflame, quickly help me gather dragon scales. They are good materials for refining artifacts, Leng Ruoxue hurriedly ordered unscrupulously while looking at the dragon scales that fell to the sea and on the beach. Big sister, leave it to Inflame. Inflame flew to the surface of the sea excitedly and grabbed a dragon scale that was many times larger than his body with his two little claws. He flew back happily to Leng Ruoxue and handed the dragon scale to her. Inflame is so awesome. Thank you, Inflame. Leng Ruoxue caressed Inflame's cute little head and coaxed him. Little sister Ruoxue, I'll help too. Feng Linger directly returned to her original form and flew to the surface of the sea. She flapped her wings, and a strong gust of wind immediately blew on the sea surface, causing the dragon scales scattered on the sea surface to all roll onto the beach. Standing on the beach, Feng Miao and Inflame helped Leng Ruoxue pick up the dragon scales. Long Hao, who was engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Zhan in the sky, almost fainted from anger when he saw the situation on the ground. Seems like my master is very satisfied with your dragon scales. I'll pluck some for her. Feng Zhan said very calmly. After he spoke, his two sharp and hard claws directly grabbed onto Long Hao's thick dragon body. Suddenly, the dragon scales on Long Hao's body fell like snowflakes. Aha! You damn bird! I'm going to kill you! Long Hao roared furiously. He was utterly enraged by Feng Zhan and began clawing at his body. Dragon scales that were even larger than a wash basin and fiery red feathers glittering colorfully fell from the sky. Looking at the two beasts who had completely given up on using their skills and switched to brawling, Leng Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Little sister Ruoxue, Feng Linger seemed to want to say something, but she opened her mouth and closed it again in the end, leaving a helpless expression on her face. Stop it! Leng Ruoxue shouted at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The two beasts, which were in the midst of intense scratching and biting, were startled by the sudden roar and instinctively stopped. Human, how dare you order this emperor around? Long Hao hollered in displeasure. He was already depressed enough that this woman dared to shout at him. You're not allowed to be so rude to my master. Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes widened in warning. TCH, she's your master, not mine, Long Hao said disdainfully. No one dared to order him around in this world. Is that so? Feng Zhan smiled mysteriously. But he accidentally pulled on the wounds on his body and couldn't help taking a deep breath. It really hurts. Damn, this stinky dragon is really ruthless. Of course. Long Hao looked at Leng Ruoxue provocatively. Don't think I won't dare to beat you just because you're a dragon. Leng Ruoxue narrowed her beautiful eyes coldly. This old dragon really deserves a beating. Ha! Ha! Long Hao laughed hysterically. Did I hear it right? This woman says she wants to beat me up. A mere spiritual supremacy like you? Long Hao asked mockingly while his huge dragon eyes sized Leng Ruoxue up from head to toe. You can try, Leng Ruoxue said expressionlessly. Such arrogance. I'm going to teach you a lesson today. Long Hao said fiercely. Humph. No human had ever dared to speak to him like this, much less beat him up. This woman really doesn't know what's good for her. Little sister Ruoxue, big sister will help you, Feng Linger quickly said. No need. Big sister can just be my audience, Leng Ruoxue said confidently. She had yet to fight anyone since she became a spiritual supremacy. She could start practicing with this dragon. 1. Long means dragon in Chinese. Chapter 232, The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against. 1. Okay. Be careful, little sister Ruoxue. The dragon's breath is very powerful, Feng Linger reminded. Okay, got it. Leng Ruoxue nodded and released the wind attribute heavenly spiritual skill wings of the wind. A huge pair of green energy wings immediately appeared on her back and carried her into the air to maintain the same height as Long Hao. Even if you can fly, you're not my match, Long Hao said arrogantly, not taking Leng Ruoxue seriously at all. Didn't anyone tell you not to underestimate your enemy? Leng Ruoxue said calmly. She turned her head slightly and looked at the wings behind her. This was her first time using the skill wings of the wind, and it looked to be effective. No, Long Hao answered truthfully. He knew that his race was very powerful before he was born. Therefore, he had never known what underestimating the enemy was. It could be said that he had never considered this concept of underestimating the enemy. He had always looked down on humans except for the beast races who had comparable strength to him. You will know today. Leng Ruoxue reminded him very kindly and then launched her first attack. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. A crisp voice sounded in everyone's ears, and a small fiery red feather flew toward Long Hao. What is this? Is it the feather of that bird? Ha! Long Hao laughed out loud as he looked at the feather flying toward him, which wasn't even as big as his claw. Laugh, continue laughing. You won't be able to laugh later, gloated Zhan, who had tacitly stood to the side to watch the battle. He had seen the destructive power of the feather with his own eyes. Blazing Tree Silver Flower. Meteor Moon Slash. Leng Ruoxue unleashed 2 more skills in succession while Long Hao was getting carried away. Sparks flew in the sky and transformed into shooting stars that charged directly at Long Hao. The small and exquisite feather also began to split, and slowly coiled around Long Hao. This is impossible. Long Hao was dumbfounded. Apart from the stinky bird's southern spirit flame, there were no flames that could hurt him. But this human woman's flames made him feel a piercing pain. Who could tell him what was going on? Master, although this stinky dragon has thick skin and flesh, he can't withstand being burned. Zhan looked sympathetically at the dumbfounded Long Hao. Don't worry. I'm just teaching him a lesson. It won't take his life, Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. Well, that old dragon was indeed foolish. At first, he underestimated his enemy. But later on, he was scared by her flames and even forgot to attack. She liked opponents who didn't fight back like this. Who's worried about him? Zhan reacted strongly and roared. He and that stinky dragon were mortal enemies, so he wouldn't care about him. I understand. I understand. Leng Ruoxue was very understanding. At the same time, she retracted her fire attribute's spiritual power to prevent burning the old dragon ripe. Ha! You've become a roasted dragon now. Zhan couldn't help laughing hysterically when he saw Long Hao's charred body. He was just short of rolling on the ground. Long Hao was on the brink of tears. He looked at his originally beautiful and dazzling scales that had turned black and felt regretful. Boo-hoo, he couldn't help sneaking peeks at Leng Ruoxue with his big, teary dragon eyes. Boo-hoo. This woman is really terrifying. She looks so petite and cute, but why is she so ruthless? Do you still want to fight? Oh, right, you didn't even have the chance to attack just now. Why don't I let you go first this time? Leng Ruoxue said with an absolutely fair appearance. I won't fight anymore, Long Hao said fearfully. This woman was a devil. He couldn't afford to offend her. Moreover, he believed that he definitely wouldn't be able to take advantage of this woman even if he attacked first. Boo-hoo, His body was still in pain, and he didn't want to suffer any more pain. This is for you. It won't hurt anymore after you eat it. Leng Ruoxue was very kind and threw Long Hao a pill. But she was impressed in her heart. This old dragon was quite sensible. After this lesson, he should be able to happily return Feng to her later. Hopefully, her opening gambit was not in vain. Long Hao took the pill and threw it directly into his mouth. But the pill was too small and melted in his mouth, so he didn't taste it at all. He only felt a light fragrance lingering in his mouth, leaving a rich aftertaste. What was more magical was that his injuries were all healed, and his beautiful scales regrew. Are there any more? Give me another one, Long Hao asked shamelessly, as if he had forgotten that she was of the human race that he despised the most. Scram! Feng Zhan roared while rolling his eyes at Long Hao. Master, I want one too. Feng Zhan looked at Leng Ruoxue pitifully like a puppy after yelling at Long Hao. Boo-hoo! A lot of my feathers were plucked off by that stinky dragon. Take it. Leng Ruoxue forced a smile and threw Feng Zhan a similar pill. Thank you, master. Feng Zhan took the pill and hurriedly threw it into his mouth. In an instant, his injuries healed, and the feathers that had fallen regrew. Dragon Emperor, it's not impossible to obtain pills, Leng Ruoxue said softly while looking at Long Hao's gigantic body. Really? Long Hao was pleasantly surprised. This pill was really something good. But I can't give any to you for free. You have to exchange something for them. Leng Ruoxue revealed her purpose after tossing out the bait. What is it? I'm very poor and don't have money, Long Hao said with a bitter face. Bullshit. You dragons are the wealthiest, yet you claim to be poor. How embarrassing. Feng Zhan exposed him unceremoniously. Dragons were the best at plundering good things. I don't want money. Leng Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Long Hao helplessly. She had long heard that dragons were greedy, lustful, and petty. Seeing one today, she thought that they were indeed worthy of their reputation. That's good. Long Hao didn't care about Feng Zhan's sarcasm at all. He was greatly relieved when he heard Leng Ruoxue say that she didn't want money. Then what do you want? Long Hao asked. Dragon Emperor, why don't you invite us in? Leng Ruoxue asked instead of answering his question. Chapter 233, The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against, 2. I'm sorry. I forgot. Please come in. Long Hao said, slightly embarrassed. To be honest, he hadn't intended to invite them in before, but things were different now. After Long Hao finished speaking, a bridge immediately appeared between Dragon Island and the beach. Under the guidance of the Dragon Emperor, Leng Ruoxue and the others stepped onto the small bridge and entered Dragon Island. Upon entering Dragon Island, Leng Ruoxue found that the entire island was unbelievably large. The small mountain she saw outside was merely the tip of the iceberg of Dragon Island. However, this Dragon Island was a little too desolate. Even though Dragon Island stretched as far as the eye could see, there wasn't a single tree on the island. The island was full of cliffs and precipices with countless caves carved into the walls. That is where we dragons live, Long Hao explained when he saw Leng Ruoxue looking at the caves. Don't you dragons come out during the day? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. She often saw phoenixes in the Phoenix clan's territory, but she didn't see a single dragon on such a big island. Dragons like to sleep, so they spend most of the year resting in their caves, Long Hao said implicitly, his face slightly hot. Just say that you dragons are too lazy. Feng Zhan's cool voice drifted over. You damn bird. No one will think you're a mute if you don't speak. Long Hao roared and glared at him. My mouth is mine. I can say whatever I want. It's none of your business. Feng Zhan replied. Humph. He just liked to go against Long Hao. Stop quarreling, Leng Ruoxue said with slight displeasure. Her beautiful eyes lightly glanced at them, and Feng, Zhan and Long Hao immediately shut their mouths sensibly. This is the main hall of our dragon clan. Please enter, Miss Leng, Long Hao said politely while pointing at a cave after they walked for a while. It was like he was a different dragon from the violent one outside of the island just now. Okay. Leng Ruoxua braced herself and walked into the cave. The cave was relatively clean, but it was pretty shabby compared to the main hall of the Phoenix clan. There was nothing else besides a few rows of stone chairs on both sides of the throne. Please take a seat, everyone. After entering the cave, Long Hao transformed into a human and sat directly on his throne. Leng Ruoxua casually found a chair and sat down. Her beautiful eyes looked at Long Hao, who was sitting on the head seat. This dragon was also a stunningly beautiful man. He looked about 20 years old, with a tall body, purple golden hair, golden eyes, and a body full of kingly majesty. Why are the human forms of spirit beasts so beautiful? She didn't understand. Miss Leng, what would you like to exchange for the pill? Long Hao asked eagerly after they sat down. He was very interested in the pill. Stinky dragon, why don't you serve us some tea or snacks? Is this how you treat your guests? Feng Zhan couldn't help looking for trouble with him again before Leng Ruoxua could reply. Come, serve us some fruits, Long Hao ordered while suppressing his anger. He was so angry that he wanted to grill the bird and eat him. That's more like it. Feng Zhan nodded with satisfaction, looking as if he was very reasonable. After a while, a few dragons brought in several plates of fruits and placed them in front of Leng Ruoxua and the others. Master, this dragon clan's ambergris fruit might not be as good as our phoenix fruit, but it's passable. Have a taste. Feng Zhan picked up a green fruit that resembled a pear and handed it to Leng Ruoxua. You damn bird. Who said that our dragon clan's ambergris fruit isn't as good as phoenix fruit? Long Hao hated to hear such words. His loud voice shook the entire cave. But this time, Leng Ruoxua ignored their argument. She took out a red fruit from her ring, put it to her mouth, and took a small bite. Immediately, the fragrance of the fruit drifted in the entire cave. It smells so good. Long Hao couldn't help taking a deep breath and staring at Leng Ruoxua with shining eyes. Master, where did this fruit come from? Feng Zhan asked in amazement. The smell alone made people feel refreshed, and it was really too alluring. Of course it was planted, Leng Ruoxua said while eating. Who planted it? Is there more? Feng Zhan asked anxiously. The spiritual energy contained in the fruit was not something that the phoenix fruit could compare with. Do you want one? Leng Ruoxua asked lightly with the expression of the big bad wolf seducing Little Red Riding Hood. Yes, of course I do, Feng Zhan said hurriedly. I want one too, Long Hao quickly said, not willing to be outdone, for fear that the fruits would be gone if he was late. How does it compare to your ambergris fruit and phoenix fruit? Leng Ruoxua looked at the two of them with a smile. There's no comparison, the two said in unison. So, are you still going to argue? Leng Ruoxua asked. No more, no more. The two smiled apologetically and cooperated very well. For you. As for the Dragon Emperor, you can exchange something for them. Leng Ruoxua threw Feng Zhan a storage ring and then spoke to Long Hao. Master, you're the best. Feng Zhan quickly put the storage ring away, as though he was afraid that someone would snatch it away. Miss Leng, what do you want? Anything is fine except money, Long Hao said resolutely. Relax. I don't want money, Leng Ruoxua said helplessly. Are dragons really that poor? So stingy. Please tell me, Miss Leng. I will try my best to satisfy you if it's within my means, Long Hao said generously. Master, I'll say it for you. Feng Zhan winked at Leng Ruoxua with a mysterious expression. Leng Ruoxua nodded and agreed to let Feng Zhan be her spokesperson. Stinky dragon, listen carefully. My master's condition is very simple. First, we want essence restoration grass. This condition isn't difficult to fulfill, right? Zhan raised his eyebrows slightly. It's not difficult. Essence restoration grass was useless to them. Second, you captured a human a while ago, right? How do you know? Long Hao asked curiously, but his eyes were looking at Leng Ruoxue. Could that human be related to her? In that case, it won't be easy to handle. Chapter 234, The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against. 3. To tell you the truth, that human is my master's subordinate. Zhan simply made things clear with Long Hao to prevent him from making wild guesses. Oh. Are there any other conditions? Long Hao wanted to change the topic. Yes. What? Why are there so many conditions? Hopefully, they won't make things difficult for me. Long Hao prayed in his heart. He really wanted those fruits and pills. My master's subordinates need contract beasts. You dragons aren't bad. Your skin is thick and resistant to attacks, so you should sacrifice a few stinky dragons. Zhan said with a smile, his expression very amiable. Impossible. Long Hao stood up from his chair angrily and looked at Zhan with a face full of rage. A dragon was contracted with a human, and the dragon clan almost had a falling out. Those elders would eat him alive if there were more. Dragon Emperor, since you're unwilling, I won't force you. Then let's exchange for the essence restoration grass and Fengda for the time being. If the dragon clan wants to make other transactions, you can come to the Phoenix clan to find me at any time, Leng Ruoxue said coldly and also stood up while rolling her eyes at Zhan. So, this fellow was targeting the dragon clan when he said he would find contract beasts for her subordinates. Well, it was a good idea, but the dragons were not so easy to fool. Miss Leng, the essence restoration grass is no problem, but I have to discuss the matter of the human with the elders before we can decide, Long Hao said with a troubled expression. The mighty dragon emperor can't even decide on such a small matter? Leng Ruoxue asked with slight mockery. Actually, that human isn't in my hands, Long Hao said softly. Where then? Leng Ruoxue pretended to be impatient. That human was captured by the third elder of our dragon clan, and he has always been in the third elder's hands. Long Hao explained that the third elder went to the Feng continent to look for his son but found that his son had actually been contracted by a human. He captured that human in the fit of anger. The third elder and that fire dragon, Leng Ruoxue asked lightly while staring at Long Hao with her beautiful eyes. Father and son. Long Hao betrayed the third elder without hesitation and revealed their relationship. Oh, I see, Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of understanding. Dragon Emperor, may I meet the third elder? Leng Ruoxue continued to ask. If she couldn't convince that old dragon, then she would have to use force. In any case, she had to take Fengda away today. Sure. But the third elder doesn't have a good temper, Long Hao reminded. It's okay. My temper isn't very good either, Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. When Long Hao heard this, his face darkened. What does she mean? Is she going to use violence to curb violence? It's not impossible. Good luck, third elder. For his own benefits, Long Hao betrayed the third elder easily. After bringing Leng Ruoxue and the others to the third elder's residence, he found a random excuse and immediately slipped away. Master, are we going in? Zhan asked eagerly. Beating up dragons was his favorite pastime. Royal father, let me take the lead. Feng Linger's beautiful face was full of excitement. She couldn't defeat the dragon emperor, but that wasn't the case with the third elder. What are you doing? We're not here to fight. Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead. What a violent pair of father and daughter. Why are we here then? Feng Linger was puzzled. Those stinky dragons were all very stubborn, and there was no helping them unless they beat them up. Of course we're here to negotiate. We have to convince the dragon with reason. Leng Ruoxue boasted shamelessly, her beautiful face devoid of any shame. Oh! Feng, Zhan and Feng Linger responded, but their eyes were full of disbelief. Stop looking at me like that. I'm a pacifist. Leng Ruoxue walked directly into the cave without looking at them. Human, where did you come from? How dare you trespass into my mansion? Leng Ruoxue heard a furious roar coming from inside the cave before she could see what was happening inside. Mansion? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. This old dragon is quite interesting. He actually called this shabby cave his mansion. It was really unexpected. Little girl, what are you laughing about? With a displeased face, a tall and handsome middle-aged man suddenly appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue. He didn't know why there was a human in the clan, but this girl was pretty gutsy. How does such a shabby cave resemble a mansion? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. This old dragon was indeed quite interesting. Other dragons liked their true form, but he actually appeared in human form. Did he yearn for the life of humans? A shabby cave is also my mansion, the middle-aged man roared loudly while glaring at her. Feng Zhan walked in and said with an accusing face, Hey, third elder, why are you shouting? Don't scare my master. Phoenix King. Huh, your master. Who is that? The third elder was so surprised that his jaw almost hit the ground. Am I deaf? Did I just hear the Phoenix King say my master? The master he's talking about is me. Leng Ruoxue kindly explained. She had been thinking about how to move this old dragon. Her principle was to try not to fight if possible. But if she had to, then she would ruthlessly beat up her opponents until they became well-behaved. How can the mighty Phoenix King acknowledge a human as his master? Ha, I wonder if the ancestors of your Phoenix clan will be driven to their graves if they find out. The third elder burst into laughter. Third elder, don't worry. The ancestors of the Phoenix clan will definitely be very grateful to me. I've done a great service to the clan, Feng Zhan said nonchalantly without even frowning. Really? Ha! Phoenix King, did you bring this little girl in? The third elder asked, even though he knew it all along. Asking the obvious. Feng Zhan spat out these words coldly. He turned his face away, too lazy to look at the smug old stinky dragon. Third elder, I heard you captured a human. Leng Ruoxue probed to see the old dragon's attitude. Chapter 235, The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against, 4, So what? Are you here that human? The third elder guessed. Humph. He was full of anger at the mention of that human. Yes, that person is my subordinate. I hope you can return him to me, third elder, Leng Ruoxue said politely. Don't even think about it. The third elder refused without hesitation. That human could forget about ever leaving Dragon Island. He didn't want his son to be enslaved by a human. Third elder, feel free to state any conditions as long as it's within my means, Leng Ruoxue said patiently. She was being polite before resorting to force. If this old dragon continued being so stubborn, then she shouldn't be blamed. There's no need to negotiate unless they can cancel the contract, the third elder said stubbornly. Third elder, as a spirit beast, you should know very well that a soul contract can't be broken. Aren't you making things difficult for me? Leng Ruoxue was a little angry after hearing the old dragon's condition. She was being nice because she didn't want to have a major conflict with the Dragon Clan. With her strength, she was not afraid of the Dragon Clan. But she was unwilling to use force if there were simple and energy-saving ways to achieve her goal. I only have this one condition. The third elder refused to give in. In that case, I have no choice but to apologize to third elder in advance. Leng Ruoxue directly attacked. A thread-like green spiritual power drifted out from her fingertip and slowly coiled around the third elder, tightly binding him. Humph. You want to deal with me with this little bit of spiritual power, the third elder said with a face full of disdain. As a divine beast, he didn't care about such a little bit of spiritual power. So he didn't even dodge or resist and let the thin thread wrap around him. At the same time, in a cell on Dragon Island. Master, Master, that female Jinx is here. A fire dragon hurriedly flew to the side of a cliff and shouted at the person locked inside. Which female Jinx? The person inside asked calmly. It's the female Jinx who captured me to contract with Master, Fire Dragon hurriedly explained. Feng quickly ran to Fire Dragon and asked through the arm-thick railing, "Are you saying that Miss is here to save me?" "Yes, but she's no match for those dragons," Fire Dragon said worriedly. "Boo-hoo. Poor Master. Nonsense. If Miss could teach you a lesson back then, she can naturally teach other dragons a lesson now. Also, you are not allowed to call Miss a female Jinx." Feng Da's big hand slapped Fire Dragon's head as he scolded. "Miss is my idol. There is nothing Miss can't do." Feng Da thought. His blind admiration for Len Ruoxue had already risen to an indescribable height. "Boo-hoo. Master. You've been poisoned too deeply by the female Jinx." Fire Dragon complained in his heart while looking at Feng Da with his huge dragon eyes like a little wife. "Where is Miss now?" Feng Da asked excitedly. Ha! He knew that his young lady would definitely come to save him. At my father's place," Fire Dragon whispered, feeling very nervous. "Boo-hoo. Father. Don't hurt the female Jinx, or Master will blame me." He knew very well how important the female Jinx was in his master's heart. "Little Fire, your father is going to be in trouble." Feng Da's face was full of schadenfreude. "Humph. So what if that third elder is the father of my spirit beast? How dare he capture me and scare me? I have to prepare for my revenge." The thought of the sea beasts not far away eyeing him like food made him resentful. But he knew that the third elder would not kill him. Otherwise, Fire Dragon would not survive. The third elder's goal was merely to torture him mentally. How is that possible? My father is a divine beast. Fire Dragon really couldn't believe his master's words. No matter how powerful that female Jinx was, it was impossible for her to defeat a divine beast, right? What's so great about a divine beast? My young lady has many divine beasts, Feng Da said with a face full of pride, his eyes shining with adoration. Ah. That's true. But there are many divine beasts in the dragon clan, Fire Dragon said carefully. There were nearly 1,000 dragons in the entire dragon clan, and there were hundreds of dragons that had advanced to divine beast, so what? Feng Da said disapprovingly. He was very confident in his young lady. She wouldn't fight a battle that she wasn't confident of winning. Since she dared to come, she probably didn't care about those dragons at all. Alas. Master is hopeless. Fire Dragon couldn't help sighing and shaking his head helplessly. At the third elder's residence. The third elder, who underestimated his enemy, didn't expect that this thin thread of spiritual power would actually prevent him from breaking free. Moreover, it bound him tighter and entangled him even more. In just a short while, green spiritual power covered his body. The third elder struggled with all his might. But the spiritual power thinner than a strand of hair didn't budge at all. Slowly, the green spiritual power changed, and green leaves actually grew on it. Then pink flowers the size of a fingernail bloomed. Pfft! Feng Zhan couldn't help bursting into laughter when he saw the third elder's current appearance. The third elder actually became a tree stump. Not only was his body covered in leaves, but flowers had even bloomed on his body. He just didn't know if they would bear fruit later. He couldn't help but be full of anticipation. What spiritual skill is this? Why is it so strange? The third elder also discovered the situation happening to his body and even forgot to be angry. He was curious. He had lived for so long but had yet to see any spiritual skill that could bloom. This is a spiritual skill I created myself. It's called Luxuriant Branches and Leaves. I am using it for the first time today. How does it feel? Leng Ruoxue asked lightly. Obviously, she regarded the third elder as a lab rat. Quickly let go of me. If you are so capable, let's fight head-on, the third elder roared while almost vomiting blood in his heart. What was this? He actually became the little girl's lab rat for experimenting with her spiritual skill. He was so depressed. Fight head-on. Third elder, do you think I'm teasing you? Leng Ruoxue smiled mockingly. Does this old man think I have to ask my opponents if they're ready before we start fighting? Chapter 236, To play the long game, 1, what I mean is, you release me, and we'll fight again. I won't accept it since you won unfairly like this, the third elder argued stubbornly. As the saying goes, all is fair in love and war. I only want the result. As for the process, it doesn't matter as long as it achieves my goal, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Well, she should still think about how to negotiate with the dragon clan. The third elder was so angry that he couldn't speak, and only after a while did he manage to squeeze out, You're despicable. Am I despicable? Leng Ruoxue asked Feng Zhan with an innocent face. How can master be despicable? Those who don't know what's good for themselves and do nothing but rely on their identity as divine beasts are the despicable ones. Feng Zhan said softly without even looking up. Inflame, go invite the Dragon Emperor over. Leng Ruoxue instructed Inflame outside. Okay. I'll go find that stinky dragon now. Inflame, who was guarding outside, immediately flew happily to find Long Hao. After a while, Long Hao very reluctantly arrived at the third elder's residence. Long Hao looked at the third elder, who was growing flowers, and suppressed his laughter to say dignifiedly, may I know why Miss Leng is looking for me? Dragon Emperor, I want to exchange him for Feng De. Is that okay? Leng Ruoxue asked indifferently, her beautiful eyes staring at Long Hao. I'm fine with it. But I don't know. Long Hao glanced at the third elder and stopped mid-sentence. Alas! These elders of the dragon clan were all stubborn old men. He couldn't force the third elder to agree even though he was the dragon emperor. Don't even think about it. I will never hand him over to you, the third elder said stubbornly. He would rather die than let his son lose his freedom and be controlled by humans to work like a draft animal. Would you rather die than submit? Leng Ruoxue questioned coldly. What's wrong with this third elder? She really didn't understand why this old man was so insistent. Yes, you can kill me. But don't expect me to hand him over to you, the third elder said resolutely. Why? Give me a reason. Leng Ruoxue asked patiently. She couldn't really kill the third elder, right? After all, this old man was the father of that fire dragon. I don't want my son to be enslaved by humans and lose his freedom, the third elder roared furiously. Who told you that being contracted with a human means that you will definitely be enslaved by humans? If I'm not mistaken, the reason why that fire dragon left the dragon clan was that he was bullied in the clan, right? To tell you the truth, if it weren't for me, your son wouldn't have been able to advance to become a divine beast now. Not only are you ungrateful, but you even repaid kindness with ingratitude and captured my subordinate. Humph. Leng Ruoxue said with an ice-cold tone, her face covered in frost. No, it's impossible. How can my son's advancement to divine beast be related to this little girl? Wasn't it Aoer's own efforts? The third elder was incomparably shocked and was unwilling to believe Leng Ruoxue's words at all. If you don't believe me, you can call that fire dragon over, and we can confront each other face to face, Leng Ruoxue suggested. This old man could doubt her words, but he wouldn't not believe the words of his son, right? Come, get Huao to come over, Long Hao ordered his subordinates. No need to get me. I'm here. A red-haired young man walked in. Aoer. Father. Miss, please show mercy and let my father go. Huao walked to Leng Ruoxue, knelt down, and begged. It seemed that his master was right. His father was indeed the unlucky one. Alas! The female jinx is really too terrifying. You are asking the wrong person. It's your father who is finding trouble with me. Leng Ruoxue didn't even look at the fire dragon, and her tone was even colder than before. Father, it's all thanks to Miss that I was able to advance to Divine Beast, Huao explained directly. He had heard everything they said outside. Aor, is what you said true? But how is this possible? She's only a human, the third elder asked in disbelief, his face full of astonishment. Even Long Hao and Feng Zhan were surprised. Miss is an alchemist, Huao said. She can concoct pills that can advance holy beasts? Long Hao asked anxiously. If this was the case, he would have to reconsider Leng Ruoxue's position. Huao stared at Leng Ruoxue for a while and then nodded. Yes. Miss Leng, I agree to return that human to you. Please let the third elder go. Long Hao immediately said emphatically after hearing what Huao said. Third elder, do you have any objections? Leng Ruoxue asked while looking at the third elder. And no. Although the third elder was still a little unwilling, he knew very well that he had to back down in the face of major issues concerning the Dragon Clan. In that case, let's exchange. Okay, Miss Leng. What about our deal? Long Hao couldn't help asking. As usual, of course, Leng Ruoxue said generously. She wanted to extend the line to catch big fish, so she would give them some benefits first. Very well. Let's exchange the essence restoration grass and that human first. As for Miss Leng's other condition, I have to discuss it with the elders, Long Hao said amiably and sincerely. Stinky dragon, you really know how to take advantage of others, don't you? My master is exchanging her subordinate for your third elder. This has nothing to do with the deal, right? Feng Zhan said with contempt and ridicule. How am I taking advantage of her? Didn't we agree on this beforehand? Long Hao retorted awkwardly with a hot face. It's okay. Leng Ruoxue smiled generously. If she didn't let these petty dragons take advantage of her first, how could they take the bait? Hee, anyone who dared to take advantage of her had to pay the price. You stupid bird, look at how generous Miss Leng is. No wonder she can become your master, Long Hao provoked proudly. Feng Zhan rolled his eyes at him, despising him in his heart. Mississippi. Feng De was brought to the third elder's residence. Seems like you didn't suffer any physical pain. Leng Ruoxue looked at the excited Feng De with tears in his eyes. Feng Da's clothes were a little disheveled, and his face a little haggard, but he was in a better condition than she had imagined. Chapter 237, To Play the Long Game, 2, Yeah, Feng De answered. He didn't suffer any physical pain. All he suffered was mental pain. Boo-hoo. Third elder? Ha! Suddenly, Feng De saw a middle-aged man covered in leaves and blooming with countless pink flowers. He was stunned, and then he laughed hysterically. Third elder, you met with such fate too. Feng De circled him a few times, then stopped in front of him and tugged at a little flower on his body. Huh, it's actually real. How did Miss do it? She's really amazing. Humph. The third elder snorted and looked up at the sky without even looking at Feng De. Third elder, I really want to beat you up. But seeing how beautiful you are now, I really can't bear to do it. Alas. Am magnanimous, so ill forgive you. Feng De said with a smile. Humph. Another snort came. Miss Leng, this is the essence restoration grass you wanted. Long Hao handed Leng Ruoxue a few blades of emerald green grass. Thank you. This is yours. Leng Ruoxue put the essence restoration grass in her storage ring, looked at the expectant Long Hao, and gave him a ring. Dragon Emperor, come to the Phoenix clan to look for me after you have discussed the last condition. However, I won't stay in the Phoenix clan for too long, Leng Ruoxue said to Long Hao. Okay, we will give Miss Leng an answer as soon as possible, Long Hao said quickly. Let's go. Leng Ruoxue said to Feng Zhan and Feng De. The two of them nodded and were about to leave with Leng Ruoxue when Long Hao stopped them. Leng Ruoxue looked at Long Hao doubtfully, her face full of question marks. Miss Leng, please untie the third elder. Long Hao asked helplessly. You can't untie it. You have to follow the laws of nature. Leng Ruoxue walked past Long Hao and left. Father, I'm leaving too. I'll come back to see you, Huaeo quickly said to the third elder when he saw his master leaving. Oh. Dragon Emperor, what should I do? The third elder asked anxiously as he looked at his son's disappearing figure and then at himself. I don't have a choice. You should just follow the laws of nature. Long Hao held in his laughter, comforted him helplessly, and then walked away. Miss, what are the laws of nature? Feng De asked curiously on the way back to the Phoenix clan. Think about it yourself, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. How stupid. I can't think of anything. Feng De looked at Leng Ruoxue pitifully with a bitter face. How can I have such a stupid subordinate like you? Leng Ruoxue said in disappointment. I know. I know. The laws of nature are the laws of nature. Inflame flew to Feng Da's side. Whether it's animals, plants, or humans, in short, all species must abide by the laws of nature, Inflame explained. He was a wood spirit vermilion bird, so no one knew more about nature than him. Oh. Although Feng De still didn't know much, he pretended to understand in order not to be despised by his young lady. Boo-hoo, this little bird really brought him down hard. Little sister Ruoxue, why did you let those stinky dragons take advantage of us? Feng Linger, who had been silent, asked in puzzlement, feeling very uncomfortable. To play the long game, of course, Leng Ruoxue explained with a light smile. Master, do you mean that the dragon clan will agree to that condition? Feng Miao asked with some uncertainty. They had studied outside for a long time just now, but they didn't understand why their master wanted to show weakness. After all, with their Phoenix clan's strength, they were not afraid of the dragon clan at all. Yes, I can advance holy beasts. This bait is big enough, Leng Ruoxue said confidently. Probably no beast could refuse such a condition. Master, our Phoenix clan also has many level 9 holy beasts, Feng Zhan reminded. If all those members of the Phoenix clan could advance to divine beast, how formidable would this force be? I've got it ready. Leng Ruoxue took out a jade bottle and handed it to Feng Zhan. How could she forget her own beasts? Thank you, Master. I will arrange for their advancement when we get back, Feng Zhan said with an excited expression on his face as he hurriedly accepted the jade bottle and put it away. No rush. Wait for me to finish refining the essence restoration pill before letting them advance. Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. In comparison, her brother's matter was more important. After waiting for so long, her genius brother could finally recover. Feng Zhan nodded shyly. He was being a little hasty. Back at the Phoenix clan, Leng Ruoxue brought Feng De, her grandfather, and the others into the Heaven and Earth bracelet and went straight into the purple bamboo house. Where is this? Feng De murmured in a daze as he stood foolishly in the space. It's so beautiful here. Captain. Lin Yuan shouted as he dashed to Feng De. Lin Yuan, why are you here? Feng De asked in surprise. And us. Everyone emerged from hiding. Feng De was startled by everyone, and after reacting, he couldn't help asking curiously, Huh? What's going on? Captain, listen to me tell you slowly. Lin Yuan pulled Feng De to the side and told him everything that had happened during this period of time. While they were chatting, the idle old man walked to Ling Qingtian and Lin Liang curiously. Hey, what are you two doing? Old man asked curiously. These two old fellows were staring at the purple bamboo house without blinking. What was the use? Could they get anything out of doing so? Go away and play somewhere else. Ling Qingtian waved his hand as if he was shooing away a fly. That's right. Don't cause trouble. Ruoxue is concocting pills. Lin Liang was in no mood to joke with old man. He was so nervous that his heart was about to jump out of his throat. This was a big matter related to his precious disciple. Calm down. Isn't it just alchemy? Is there a need for you all to be so paranoid? Old man said helplessly. Alas. They are really blinded by concern. Chapter 238, To Play the Long Game, 3. Compared to the nervousness of the two outside, Leng Ruoxue was very calm in the purple bamboo house. After entering the alchemy room, she was in no hurry to start concocting immediately but instead took out the pill formula. The level of the essence restoration pill was not high, and it was not difficult for her. But she still looked at it several times to prevent herself from missing anything to err on the safe side. Then Leng Ruoxue took out the medicinal herbs she had prepared long ago, took out the alchemy furnace, and officially began concocting. After lighting the pill furnace and preheating it, Leng Ruoxue placed the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace in order. After the medicinal herbs melted and turned into liquid, she began to purify and condense the pills. After she completed the last step, the unique fragrance of the pills slowly spread out from the furnace. Leng Ruoxue opened the furnace, took out more than a dozen translucent, round pearl-like silver-white pills, and put them in a special jade bottle. After concocting the essence restoration pills, Leng Ruoxue immediately left with the pills. After exiting the purple bamboo house, Leng Ruoxue saw two pairs of shining eyes looking at her anxiously, their faces nervous and expectant. Seeing the two grandpas' expressions, Leng Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. It was a success, Leng Ruoxue said directly to the two without beating around the bush. Ling Qingtian and Lin Liang sighed in relief. Qingju, ask Big Brother to come out. Leng Ruoxue said to Qingju, who was not far away. Qingju actually sacrificed her big brother's beauty in order to lock up that perverted butterfly. Alas. Okay. Qingju waved his fair and tender little hand, and Leng Ruhan appeared in front of everyone. Of course, the perverted butterfly was with him. Humph. Finally willing to let me out. I was bored to death. Fortunately, there was a stunningly beautiful man accompanying me, the butterfly complained as soon as it left the prison. Shut up. Leng Ruoxue hollered. The shining butterfly flapped its wings, flew in front of Leng Ruoxue, and persuaded her earnestly, Girl, be gentle, be gentle. Get lost. Leng Ruoxue roared. She didn't want to see this abnormal butterfly. Girl, the butterfly looked at Leng Ruoxue with tears in its little black eyes, full of grievance. Lil Purple, come back, Leng Ruhan said softly. His clear and pure bright eyes were full of helplessness. Okay. The butterfly flew back obediently to Leng Ruhan's side unwillingly. Did Big Brother subdue this butterfly? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help becoming curious after seeing how obedient the butterfly was to Leng Ruhan. Big Brother, I've successfully concocted the essence restoration pill. You can recover your spiritual power, Leng Ruoxue said happily while looking at her excellent brother. As for the butterfly, she would leave the matter for another time. Swear, thank you. Leng Ruhan's face was unusually calm, but his voice was trembling, revealing his nervousness. Big Brother, reconstructing your meridians might hurt a little. You have to bear with it. Leng Ruoxue reminded as she handed him an essence restoration pill. Okay. Leng Ruhan nodded. His beautiful face was resolute as he walked toward his residence. After a while, painful groans sounded from Leng Ruhan's room. Leng Ruoxue and the others, who were guarding outside the house, felt their hearts wrench upon hearing this. Swear, Ruhan has been in there for so long. Why isn't he better yet? Ling Qingtian paced back and forth anxiously. Grandpa, reconstructing meridians is a very slow process. Don't worry, Leng Ruoxue comforted. In fact, she was quite nervous. But others couldn't help with this kind of thing, and they could only rely on her brother. Yes, all of you are too nervous. Calm down, old man advised helplessly. 2 hours later, the door of the house opened, and Leng Ruhan emerged. The smile on his face was incomparably dazzling, stunning everyone present, even though he looked disheveled. Big brother. Leng Ruoxue threw herself into Leng Ruhan's arms excitedly. She knew that her brother had succeeded. Swear, big brother can protect you again in the future. Leng Ruhan hugged his baby sister happily. He could finally cultivate again. This feeling was really great. Leng Ruoxue nodded and then said mischievously, yes, but I still prefer the feeling of protecting big brother. You don't have to fight. Grandpa needs protection the most. Come and protect Grandpa. Leng Qingtian couldn't help joking when he saw that his grandson had finally recovered. Disciple, Master also needs protection, Lin Liang added playfully. Hey, do you two not know shame? I'm getting goosebumps. Don't disgust me here. Old man jumped in and accused them before the siblings could say anything. It's none of your business. Leng Qingtian and Lin Liang said in unison while rolling their eyes at old man, hee, big brother, let's ignore them and talk outside, Leng Ruoxue whispered to Leng Ruhan while the 3 old men were arguing again. Okay. Leng Ruhan nodded. As a 24-hour-day filial elder brother, he naturally had to listen to his little sister. Leng Ruoxue left the heaven and earth bracelet with Leng Ruhan and appeared in her room. Big White, quickly come out and acknowledge your master, Leng Ruoxue called out to the space. The beasts she had prepared for her brother had finally come in handy. We're here. Big White's entire family appeared in front of them. During their time in the space, Big White and his wife had both advanced to level 8 holy beast while their cubs also grew a lot. Establish the contract. Leng Ruoxue said to Big White. The male white tiger nodded his large head and took the lead in establishing a soul contract. Following that, his wife and children also established soul contracts with Leng Ruhan. The contract arrays descended almost simultaneously, and after they disappeared, the contracts were formally established. Big White, you can go back now. Leng Ruoxue sent their entire family back into the bracelet. Chapter 239, To play the long game, for, Big Brother, it'll get you a few more dragons to contract in a few days, Leng Ruoxue said. Those dragons were a little ugly, but they were pretty strong and usable. Swear, Big White and his family are enough for me. Leng Ruhan smiled, his face full of satisfaction. They are not divine beasts yet. Big Brother has to have a divine beast no matter what, Leng Ruoxue said very seriously. Their opponents would become stronger and stronger in the future, so the strength of their beasts was extremely important. Okay, Big Brother will listen to Swear, Leng Ruhan said helplessly, his face full of affection. Swear, you naughty girl, where did you go? Leng Qingshan's angry roar suddenly appeared in Leng Ruoxue's mind. Ha, Big Brother, Grandpa and the others finally realized that we left. Leng Ruoxue smiled happily. Get the 3 old men to come out as well, lest they be too anxious, Leng Ruhan said very kindly with a similarly happy smile on his face. Okay, Grandpa, come out. Leng Ruoxue said to the few anxious old men in the space. Swear, you naughty girl. Leng Qingtian glared at his granddaughter with wide eyes, wanting to bore a hole through her. That's right. Ruoxue, how could you abandon us? Lin Liang said with a sad face. Stop acting. I won't fall for it. Leng Ruoxue steeled herself and turned her face away. Alas! We are old and despised by the little girl, old man said sadly with a heavy sigh. Stop. Okay, I'm afraid of you. What do you want? Tell me. Leng Ruoxue raised her hands in surrender. She was impressed by these three old men. They would stop at nothing until they achieved their goal. Shuer, Ruhan's injuries have healed. Shouldn't we celebrate? Leng Qingtian probed, his face full of anticipation. How do you want to celebrate, Grandpa? Leng Ruoxue asked, pretending not to understand. She knew that these old men were greedy. Ruoxue, do you still have python meat? Lin Liang asked as he swallowed his saliva gently. Do you want to eat it? Yes, yes. 3 pairs of expectant eyes stared at Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue stopped teasing them and said straightforwardly, then let's go out and eat. Okay. The 3 old men had no objections. As long as they could eat, the location was not important. Leng Ruoxue sent them back into the heaven and earth bracelet and then left the wooden house. After arriving at the valley where she had advanced last time, Leng Ruoxue released everyone and the beasts from the bracelet. Feng walked to Leng Ruoxue and said as if he was presenting a treasure, Miss, I have another python here. Just right. There are so many people and beasts, so I was thinking it might not be enough. Leng Ruoxue gave Feng some instructions and then entered the bracelet. Qing Ju, where's the little mink? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. He's guarding the fire lotus. After hearing what Qing Ju said, Leng Ruoxue went to the field where the fire lotus was planted. As expected, she saw the little silver mink lying motionlessly in front of the fire lotus. Seeing this, she felt a little uncomfortable. Doesn't this little mink like to stick to me the most? Is this fire lotus female? Little mink, what are you doing here? Leng Ruoxue questioned in annoyance. Shuer, you're here. The little silver mink looked up at Leng Ruoxue and then lowered his little head to stare at the fire lotus. Do you intend to stay here forever? Leng Ruoxue said with some jealousy. But she didn't even realize in the slightest that she was jealous of the fire lotus. It's very important, the little silver mink whispered while praying in his heart. Grow up quickly. As long as it could grow into a 1,000-year-old fire lotus, he would be able to revive. It is very important, but you don't have to stay here. Qing Ju will take care of it. Leng Ruoxue suppressed her anger. Of course, she knew how important the fire lotus was. But for some reason, seeing this little mink guarding this place made her uncomfortable. Shuer, what's wrong? The little silver mink was puzzled. Why is Shuer angry? You are not allowed to stay here, Leng Ruoxue ordered as she picked up the little mink lying on the ground. Oh, the little silver mink answered softly. Boo-hoo. Does Shuer dislike me? His imagination began to run wild again. Leng Ruoxue left the bracelet with the little mink in her arms. After going out, she saw that everyone was almost ready. Miss, this is for you. Feng handed Leng Ruoxue a piece of cleaned meat. Thank you. Leng Ruoxue sat on the ground with the little mink in her arms and began grilling the meat on the fire. Big sister, baby wants to eat too, baby said coquettishly while snuggling up to Leng Ruoxue. It's not done yet. Don't worry, Leng Ruoxue coaxed. She gently caressed baby's soft fur and sighed in her heart. Why are my beasts so cute? After she grilled the meat, she distributed the meat to the mink and baby. Be careful. It's hot, Leng Ruoxue quickly reminded baby as she watched him wolf down the food. Why aren't you eating? Leng Ruoxue turned her gaze to the little mink in her arms. I want you to feed me. The little silver mink pouted his pink lips and acted coquettishly. But he kept repeating to himself in his heart, Shuer won't hate me. She won't. Open your mouth. Leng Ruoxue helplessly tore off a small piece of meat and brought it to the little mink's mouth to coax him. It smells so good. The little silver mink licked his lips happily and rubbed his fluffy little face against Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face in satisfaction. Leng Ruoxue rubbed the little mink's soft fur. When she saw the little thing's satisfied expression, her depressed mood just now was swept away. Everyone sat together happily. After they had their fill, Len Ruoxue sent them all back to the Heaven and Earth bracelet and returned to the Phoenix clan's territory alone. After returning to the Phoenix clan, Len Ruoxue went straight to Feng Zhan. Chapter 240, To Play the Long Game, 5, Master, why are you here? Feng Zhan asked curiously. Shouldn't Master be concocting pills right now? Feng Zhan, go and tell them to advance, Len Ruoxue said directly. After all those members of the Phoenix clan advanced to Divine Beast, she would be ready to leave a few days later. I'll inform them immediately, Feng Zhan said happily. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. Dragon Island. In the main hall, Long Hao was sitting on the throne. Below him were the 10 elders of the Dragon clan, including the 3rd elder with flowers all over his body. You already know what happened. Tell me your thoughts. Long Hao's sharp golden eyes scanned the elders sitting below him. Your Majesty, we dragons are born noble, so how can we be commanded by humans? The 7th elder spoke first, his wrinkled face full of disapproval. Does anyone have a different opinion? Long Hao's golden eyes narrowed. He had already expected the reaction of the 7th elder, so he was not surprised that the old man would object. A little old man with white hair stood up and said, Your Majesty, if that Len Ruoxue can really help our clan advance, it won't be a loss to acknowledge her as our master. 2nd elder, you are mistaken. The 7th elder hurriedly stood up to object when he heard the little old man. 7th elder, calm down and let 2nd elder finish speaking, Long Hao interrupted. But he was thinking in his heart that he had almost made the necessary arrangements, and he couldn't let this stubborn old man spoil the plans. Your Majesty, elders, please listen to me. Although Len Ruoxue is only a human, she has pills that can advance holy beasts to divine beasts. Everyone should know very well how difficult it is to advance to divine beast. Moreover, the Phoenix King has already acknowledged her as his master. I believe that the strength of the Phoenix clan will soon surpass ours. Do you want to see that happen? The 2nd elder said loudly with his blood boiling. He mentioned the Phoenix clan because he knew that these elders would not want to see the Phoenix clan become stronger than them. I think 2nd elder makes sense, the other elders agreed. Although dragons and phoenixes were not archenemies, they were definitely not friends. In fact, the animosity between the two races had existed for a long time. Therefore, they would always start fighting whenever the two races met. Who knows if Len Ruoxue really has that kind of medicinal pill in her hand, the 7th elder said with a face full of disbelief. Huao tested it himself. How can it be fake? Moreover, he said it himself, the 2nd elder said hurriedly. What he implied was that even if you didn't believe in humans, shouldn't you believe in your own people? He has already acknowledged a human as his master, so of course he will speak up for humans. The 7th elder snorted and quibbled. Anyway, he just didn't agree. 7th elder, what's the meaning of this? Could it be that you think my son is lying? The 3rd elder questioned with a displeased face. His son finally became successful, but he was still being doubted. How unreasonable. I didn't mean that, the 7th elder quickly denied. He didn't want to provoke this violent dragon. Stop arguing. We must discuss this matter over a long period of time. Let's wait and see first, the 1st elder, who had not said a word all this while, said resolutely. After the 1st elder spoke, none of the elders dared to speak anymore. Alas! Just a little more. Long Hao was depressed. The 1st elder had a high status in the Dragon clan and had watched him grow up. So he didn't dare to force it if the 1st elder did not agree. But there was still hope since the 1st elder didn't refuse outrightly. At the same time, the sky outside the hall suddenly became incomparably dazzling, and lights flashed non-stop. Long Hao and the others hurriedly ran out of the hall. Your Majesty, these are the heaven and earth laws for advancement, the 2nd elder said as he looked up at the sky. Heaven and earth laws had been descending all the time recently, but they hadn't been able to identify it the previous few times. This time, the place where the heaven and earth laws descended was clearly the territory of the Phoenix clan. Damn it. Those damn birds are actually advancing. Long Hao felt resentful as he looked at the heaven and earth laws descending from the sky. He turned around and returned to the main hall with a huff. Your Majesty, it's as I expected, the second elder said with a face full of realization. Do you have anything else to say, seventh elder? Long Hao asked furiously. The tough and stubborn seventh elder stammered a little in the face of reality. Your Majesty, if there is anyone in the Dragon clan who wants to acknowledge humans as their masters, let them go, the first elder said. He didn't want to see the emperor vent all his anger on the elders. Second elder, I'll leave this matter to you, Long Hao ordered the second elder directly. He was waiting for the first elder to say this. Your Majesty, don't worry. I will definitely settle this matter, the second elder hurriedly said. This was a good task. He wondered what else that little girl had. He also wanted to exchange some stuff. The Phoenix clan's territory. The members of the Phoenix clan who had just become divine beasts crowded around Leng Ruoxue with gratitude on their faces. Big sister, Inflame also wants to become a divine beast. Inflame flew around Leng Ruoxue and kept shouting. Inflame, you're not an adult yet. Leng Ruoxue caressed Inflame's little head to calm him. When will I become an adult? Boo-hoo, Inflame, don't make a fuss, Feng Zhan gently reprimanded and grabbed the noisy little fellow into his embrace. Feng Zhan, I'm going back. Leng Ruoxue smiled at Feng Zhan. With that, she walked toward her residence. She had just gained so many benefits, so she had to go back and consolidate them. Leng Ruoxue returned to the wooden house, entered her room, and went directly into the heaven and earth bracelet. Schwer, the scene just now was really spectacular, Ling Qingtian couldn't help saying when he saw his precious granddaughter. Yes, now that all those members of the Phoenix clan have advanced to Divine Beast, let's leave this place after the dragons of the Dragon clan come, Grandpa. Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. Chapter 241, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 1, okay, but will the dragons of the Dragon Clan come? Ling Qingtian was a little worried. It seemed that those dragons despised humans. The advancements just now can't be hidden from the Dragon Clan. Those dragons should be anxious, so there will definitely be dragons coming to me, Leng Ruoxue said with certainty, but she didn't know how many there would be. Grandpa, what about Big Brother and the others? Leng Ruoxue asked. Ruhan, Fengde, and the others have all gone into seclusion. They said they wanted to cultivate diligently, Ling Qingtian explained. After leaving the Phoenix clan, the three old men also planned to go into seclusion to avoid dragging his granddaughter down in the future. Oh. Grandpa, I'll go and consolidate my cultivation. Leng Ruoxue nodded and walked toward the purple bamboo house. Where's little girl? Old man, who was gnawing on a spirit fruit in his hand, suddenly appeared beside Ling Qingtian and asked curiously. He clearly heard the girl's voice just now. Schwer went to cultivate. Why do you only know how to eat all day long? Ling Qingtian said with a headache. This old man wasn't like this before. Why did he seem like a different person now? I'm also doing this for cultivation. These spirit fruits are full of spiritual power, and I can't enter seclusion now, so I can only eat them. Anyway, there are so many of them on the trees that I can't finish them all, old man explained, implying that he shouldn't be so stingy. Yes. What old man said is very reasonable. Now, we can only rely on these spirit fruits to increase our spiritual power. Lin Liang also held a fruit in his hand and agreed very much. Humph. Well said. In fact, you two are just gluttons. Ling Qingtian bluntly exposed the two of them. Then he snorted and went to pick a fruit from a tree. After consolidating her cultivation, Len Ruoxue emerged from the purple bamboo house and saw the three old men eating spirit fruits in competition. Cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Are they really that bored? Without disturbing them, Len Ruoxue quietly left the bracelet with the little mink. Shuer, where are we going? The little silver mink asked curiously when he saw Shuer carrying him out of the wooden house. Out for a walk. Len Ruoxue brought the little mink to the sea, sat on a boulder on the beach, and basked in the sea breeze. Oh, it feels pretty good. Ruoxue. A voice sounded from behind her. Len Ruoxue turned around and saw Huaqing standing not far away, looking at her. Why are you here? There are many sea beasts here. I'm not afraid, Huaqing said calmly. Alas. He hadn't seen Ruoxue since he came here. Thinking of this, he couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Oh, how's the situation with your Hua family? Len Ruoxue asked tentatively. She had never had the chance to chat with Huaqing, so she wasn't very clear about his family's situation. But the incident could be considered to be caused by her, so she still felt somewhat guilty toward Huaqing. I'm not sure either. Some died, some were injured, and some escaped. The Hua family no longer exists, Huaqing said indifferently, his expression unreadable. Actually, I was the one who destroyed the Su family, so I'm also responsible for this matter, Len Ruoxue said after some hesitation. I know. The Su family has always been ambitious. Even if it weren't for you, they would have dominated the entire Ling Feng continent sooner or later. You just brought this matter forward, Huaqing said calmly. In fact, he knew very well that he could not entirely blame Ruoxue for this matter. His father had been too greedy. Yes, the Su family is indeed a big problem. By the way, why were you together with Muli? Len Ruoxue asked curiously. These two shouldn't be related, right? I met him on the road. I was chased by those people, and he saved me, so I came with him, Huaqing explained simply. Then what are your plans for the future? We'll be leaving in a few days, Len Ruoxue said. This was also considered informing him in advance. I don't know either. Huaqing lowered his head in disappointment. He really didn't know where he could go. Then stay with us for now. Leave after you find the Hua family, Len Ruoxue said helplessly after thinking about it for a while. Alas. She really couldn't chase Huaqing away while he was in this state. Thank you. Huaqing raised his head happily. He had already felt out of place during the past few days he was with them. So in fact, he was already mentally prepared to leave them at any time. But he didn't expect Ruoxue to want him to stay. Even though it was only temporary, he was already very happy. He was happy, but the little mink in Len Ruoxue's arms was unhappy. His beautiful blue eyes stared fiercely at Huaqing, wanting to glare him to death. Huaqing ignored the little mink's angry gaze and asked, Ruoxue, when are we leaving? In a week at most. The fire attribute's spiritual power here is very strong. Take advantage of these few days to absorb more of it. This opportunity is very rare, Len Ruoxue reminded. This place was extremely suitable for fire attribute cultivators to cultivate. Yes, I've been absorbing it the whole time, Huaqing said. His greatest wish now was to increase his strength quickly, so he definitely wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. Let's go back. I have to find the Phoenix King and talk with him, Len Ruoxue said after looking at the time. Huaqing nodded, and the two of them walked back to the Phoenix clan's territory. I'm going to see the Phoenix King. You should go back and rest. Okay, Huaqing replied and walked toward the wooden house. Len Ruoxue headed straight for the Phoenix King's resting palace. Master. Zhan was surprised to see Len Ruoxue looking for him again so quickly. Zhan, I plan to leave the Phoenix clan in a few days. Len Ruoxue stated her intentions clearly. What? Then what should we do? Zhan was shocked. When his master was in the dragon clan, she said that she would be leaving in a few days. At that time, he thought that she was just scaring those dragons. He didn't expect that she was really leaving. Boo-hoo. Are we going to enter Master's spirit beast space? But there are no sycamore trees there, so it isn't suitable for our Phoenix clan to cultivate. Of course you have to leave with me. Do you want to stay here? Len Ruoshua asked in puzzlement. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.